if you stand up for human rights, why is that a right or a left thing? Why aren't people on the right wing concerned about human rights? They're human too.
Wow.
This whole thing that like kind of has come into vogue of like empathy trap. It's an empathy trap. Like that's what Elon Musk says. Like empathy is like, don't be fooled by the empathy trap.
Yes.
Stick to your agenda and what's best for you.
Holy fuck.
Wow.
Don't start feeling bad for so-and-so. They're on their own thing. Look out for number one. Like, it's like, wait a minute. Empathy is not a trap. Empathy is a superpower.
Wow. You talk like a fag and your shit's all retarded.
He's absolutely right.
In this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns and those who dig. Broadcasting from a Montana wilderness fortress at the headwaters of the Missouri, this is Matt Christiansen Live.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is Matt Christiansen Live, a proud duct tape production for Wednesday, June 24th, 2026. Thank you for tuning in. Sitting shotgun tonight. He has enough hair for both of us. Skulldugger is here. Welcome back.
Indeed. Ahoy, ahoy.
And he has the beard I one day might. Kind of both of them, but especially Turless. He's here as well. Welcome back.
Howdy. Saddle up, partner.
Howdy indeed, with the cowboy hat. You're fitting the Western theme very well, and we appreciate that. In the news for discussion tonight, did Joe Biden somehow become president again? Now, Turles, you are my go-to for steel manning Trump talk. But Trump is saying the oil companies are gouging us, and he wants the Justice Department to investigate their price gouging. Okay.
I'm sorry. Nope. I can't back him on that play. No
okay,
way.
so you're out on this one. We'll be brief with that, and hopefully you just sit tight, dude. The oil prices are coming down. Just be patient. We don't need to
trust. Just trust the plan.
Yeah, why can't he trust the plan? Anyway, a terrible shooting hits downtown Montreal. I think every possible demographic was involved, and at first I was somewhat female cop sympathetic. I've since reviewed the video, and I whatever sympathy I had is now gone because I hate to joke about this kind of stuff. The whole thing was horrific. You got a civilian dead by cop. I didn't understand what the civilian was doing. He's shot dead by a lady cop. Now I kind of get what the civilian was doing. The whole thing is just awful, but
it's a fiasco. And I got to say, well, I'm not going to be breaking any ground here, but a lot of commentary has been, what kind of training are Montreal police even getting over there? But there's it
diversity
seems,
training. When
you see all these women in the police force everywhere, you do start to get the idea that this is being viewed as a kind of jobs program rather than, something serious, like we're trying to catch dangerous criminals.
Speaking of dangerous criminals, the Antifa terrorists who shot at police and ICE agents in Texas last summer, they got decades in prison on terrorism-related charges. The leader, or the guy who took the shots, actually got 100 years. So finally, little Antifa-related justice. We'll get to that. And remember Congressman Dan Goldman from New York? He was actually a lawyer for Democrats in the first Trump impeachment. Then he got elected to Congress. Now he'll be out of Congress. One of the worst weeks I've seen anybody have. He got kicked out of a coffee shop for being a Jew, or at least a Zionist Jew. Then his chief of staff got exposed as a degenerate gay exhibitionist. And then he lost his primary to the Mamdani endorsed candidate. And he's going to be out of Congress in January. So very rough. But if anyone deserved it, it might be Dan Goldman. So we'll get through that. Plus, we'll take calls and emails. If you'd like to call the show live, you can do that through the Discord server linked in the description. There are instructions and help available for you on the server, courtesy of friendly producer Tim. If you'd like to leave a voicemail or text message for the show, the number's in the description as well. Before we get into all of that, got to say hello to our featured listeners. Just a moment of housekeeping for the upcoming July 4th holiday, the America 250th birthday. There will be no stream interruptions. So we will be live on July 1st. Frank will be here next week. And we'll be live on July 5th as well. So you can count on the stream continuing. I may take a brief short video break for July 4th, but other than that, everything will be on schedule. Matt and I will be live Sunday, July 5th. So no interruptions for the holiday weekend at all. But into the news, we have Iran-related updates.
Why the fuck is the gas so hot, bitch?
The Senate yesterday voted to cut off the U.S. military campaign against Iran, at least symbolically.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, we better do it.
Here we go again.
Well,
no.
This time it has passed both houses, though, because this did previously pass the House. Now it's through the Senate. 4 Republicans broke ranks to join Democrats: Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Rand Paul, and Bill Cassidy. Well, Bill Cassidy, I guess, is Rand Paul makes sense to me on principle. I don't think that's dishonest. Bill Cassidy, I think, is butthurt, and that's fine.
Sure.
And Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski are just that's what they do. Based Frankenstein, John Fetterman came over, though. He voted with Republicans.
I saw that.
Really?
The entire time I was researching this topic, this subject, I never got past the question, why should I care about this?
What are we even doing here?
All right, fine. Okay, so this is largely it's not largely. It is purely
entirely
symbolic.
Yes.
It is a resolution under the War Powers Act that says to the president, since the duration of time of whatever it is, 60 days, I forget. Now they're saying, hey, no more military offensives without our authorization, but it's really a moot point because isn't, I mean, or what is a question. And also, there's not a lot going on right now with the negotiations in progress. So it doesn't matter.
And they don't even, it's not like they have a veto-proof majority anyway.
No.
Well, but the president doesn't actually sign this. There's no veto on this because it's not technically a law. It's a resolution. So
right. So it's
tisk,
not,
tisk.
Right. So
it's non-binding.
As a resolution, it's like we're just saying stuff, I guess.
Yeah. But do you think that there is any kind of fracturing in Congress on this, or is it just the usual people doing the usual thing?
I think it may be an indication, at least for Republicans, that they are starting to really eyeball their post-Trump, possibly even post-MAGA identity, but especially eyeballing the midterms. I think the tolerance for the Republican Party on the amount of political capital they're willing to spend in Iran this year is over.
Does that really hold up, though, if it's just liberal Republicans and a libertarian Republican?
Well, for now.
Yeah, I mean, if we saw more of them, I think, break, then I might agree with that. But at the moment, I don't know. I think I don't think that people are that high-ranking of Republicans are assuming that post-Trump everything is going to go back to status quo. I don't think that's the case.
MAGA broke the old status quo. There is no status quo. So the Republican identity is either you try to push MAGA beyond Trump, or you come up with a new identity. That's true.
Options. So there are a lot of people doing that right now who are trying to establish what is this all going to look like going forward.
Yeah.
Well, like Skulldugger said, who the hell cares? Moving on to more important things. This is significant, assuming Trump is going to make moves beyond just posting on Truth Social. And maybe that's all this is. And I hope that's all this is. But Trump is now accusing oil companies of price gouging, and not just accusing them of that, but directing his Justice Department to investigate. What does that mean?
No.
I don't know that again, like
this is. See my comments on the previous,
okay,
topic.
But
why should I care about this DOJ?
It's not that I'm saying this DOJ is going to be tremendously consequential, although Pam Bondi is out. So who knows? People might actually do stuff. Philosophically, this is idiotic. And I really hope the president does not think this way. In a post early today, Trump wrote, "The big oil companies are not dropping their price at the pump commensurate with the sharply lower prices they are paying for oil. Those prices are dropping like a rock. In other words, consumers are being gouged. I have instructed the DOJ to immediately start looking into this. Gasoline prices better start going down a lot faster than what I am seeing."
I don't know what Trump is doing.
Again, is Joe Biden president? We're doing the price gouging thing where you directly you create the circumstances for price increases, which is what happened when you disrupted supply, when you went into Iran. Now, whatever you think of Iran, whether it was worthwhile, whether it wasn't, when you disrupt supply and demand remains, the price will go up. It is unavoidable. Basic economics. I know the president understands this. What he's saying is that, well, we've seen the price of oil dropping. That's right. We are watching the price of oil drop. In fact, it's under $70 a barrel today, which is down close to where it used to be pre-war in the $60 range, which is great news. But the practical reality remains that gas stations have purchased oil, not this moment. They've purchased it days ago, a week ago, whatever. It takes a moment for the price to come down. And this is what's frustrating about it. Like we were saying, just shut the hell up. The correct messaging is, hey, great progress on Iran. Hopefully, whether that's true or not. Accordingly, you're seeing oil prices drop. Just wait a little bit. You're going to see relief at the pump. It's going to be great. That's the correct messaging. Does he actually believe that the secret cabal of oil executives just decided to gouge for some reason at this particular point in his presidency? This is one of those where I actually am worried about what Trump said. I don't take this as just like nonsense Trump talk. Does he philosophically believe this in this price gouging bullshit? What do you think?
No.
Honestly, honestly, this looks like flailing to me. Because you have to understand the reason that Trump broke, and I hate to say it, but I did overestimate him a little bit in this regard. The reason that Trump broke on this whole Iran stuff is because of oil prices, and this is really indicative of that conclusion that he's now, because the result that he wanted from being basically embarrassed in this whole conflict with Iran, the result that he wanted, and he wanted fast, was lower gas prices.
Which you're getting. Just chill out for 5 seconds.
Yeah, just calm down for a second. It'll happen. I mean, and it's not even just like what you said. A lot of people's oil reserves are depleted, so they have to get those back up. Mm-hmm. So, it's going to take a minute.
Correct. So the cheaper oil that's being purchased is still on boats that need to make their way across oceans before they get to the actual supplier, which
they got to
is
get
the
past the
gas
cardboard mines in the strait. It's
Exactly.
dangerous.
So the cheaper oil has not yet made it to your local supplier, which is your gas station. So you are still purchasing the inflated gas of the conflict. So the consequences of the conflict are not over until the cheap gas makes it to your local supplier.
And insofar as prices are also affected by futures, what people expect to happen, people aren't totally sure that this is going to hold. So
now I'm not 100% going to bat for the oil barons that have way too much control in this country, but this is not the correct criticism of the fuel barons.
And I just don't like it because it makes Trump again look kind of just desperate for something good to happen.
He is desperate. This is an indication that he is entirely worn out on the amount of political capital that he lost. So just go back to when he won the election. He had everything. He had all the momentum. He had everything on. He felt like he had destiny on his side. That's all gone. And he is fully in realization of the fact that he has squandered probably what was the most momentum any president is going to have for a very long time.
You know how I know that what I wrongly called the Red Hat clan on, was it Wednesday or Sunday? I can't remember. But what I meant was the Red Hat cult. And that I don't think that's most Trump voters, most Trump supporters even, but they certainly exist. I was just perusing through some replies on, pro MAGA Twitter accounts talking about Trump calling out the supposed price gouging of big oil. And it's like they all traded their MAGA hats for pink Women's March hats. Like all of a sudden they're all repeating the Joe Biden talking points from like 4 years ago. And it just tells me like whatever the leader says, oh, I've been on to the corruption of big oil this whole time. I always knew, Mr. President, you go get them. Oh, man. And even if it's true, like even if there was some truth to the fact that they are arbitrarily trying to sneak a few extra nickels off the American consumer, what do you think the Justice Department is going to do to improve that? Are you going to do price controls? Are you going to put leadership of these companies in prison? Let's go after producers. Again, what will that do? That will reduce supply or complicate supply. That will not improve the situation in any way. If you think the president yelling at producers is going to reduce prices for consumers, that has never worked, and it will never work because it's contrary to basic economics.
Or force them to spend extra money dealing with the DOJ investigation and see how that's going to affect prices at the pump. No thanks.
That's just what we need. Yeah, is drawn out, pointless legal conflicts between the oil companies and the federal government. We could definitely be doing more productive things.
Correct.
Well, you guys want to talk about this awful shooting in Montreal?
All right.
So just an absolutely terrible event, and it's actually difficult to describe all the players involved. And it's terrible because it's a mass shooting, attempted mass shooting, I guess. Terrible because there was a police officer killed. Terrible because it looks like a police officer killed a civilian as well, an innocent, uninvolved civilian. Really hard to keep track of who's who and who did what. And this is one of those stories that's so terrible. It's like, it feels bad to make fun of it, but also there's kind of no way not to make fun of it. And this headline sent to me by producer Tim from Not the Bee, as in like their actual news page, is accurate. The headline is, female cop shoots rabbi outside Pornhub office in Canada while hiding from Marxist gunman who killed immigrant officer named Muhammad.
Bingo.
Think we have that about right.
Wow.
The most Canadian headline of all time. So yesterday, near the Pornhub headquarters in Montreal, it's actually the parent company of Pornhub. It's some kind of company that owns many different porn sites or whatever in the porn industry. AYLO, AYLO is the name of the company that operates these sites. But 25-year-old Seth Hatfield is the name of the shooter. He posted a manifesto critical of many things: Zionism, capitalism, police, feminism, pornography, and all of this according to the Montreal Gazette, which has reviewed the manifesto. Now, as far as I saw, I don't know about you guys, I don't think the manifesto is public. At least I haven't seen it. Have either of you seen it?
Yes, actually.
Oh, it is out there. Okay.
It's difficult to find because a lot of places are not posting it after what happened with the San Diego manifesto.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of places are opting to no longer link to these manifestos.
Now I'm already what's the San Diego situation? Remind me. I'm blanking on that.
The shooting at the mosque.
Yeah.
But what
happened with the manifesto?
Well, it's just it was full of a bunch of crazy stuff that then a lot of people latched onto and were sort of reposting some of the snippets from that, like 80, I think that was what, 84 pages, 74, 84 pages. This one's 104. So they're getting longer.
Yeah.
We've made the call before. Please, shooters, be more courteous with your manifestos. Okay. Yeah. We all have things to get to. We don't have time to read 100 pages.
Have somebody proofread and edit this thing.
Hey, look, you know,
need an AI summary.
It has been said that white men have a very hard time getting books published these days. So you got to get them out there somehow.
Oh, man. All right. So the shooter blamed feminism, liberalism, and capitalism for his situation. So he's blaming a grab bag of everything. It's everything. But you see a lot of this these days with these very angry people committing these things. They don't seem to have coherent philosophies in the way that we've traditionally considered them. They kind of have this grab bag mentality.
Yeah, it was the same thing with the San Diego shooters. Their manifesto was all over the place as well.
That's right. Now I remember. Those are they were thought to be transgender, but then they weren't, and they live streamed the whole thing like Brent and Tarrant. That's the one.
And they had the super glowy SS.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. And the video, and I regretfully watched the video, and it was reminiscence of Christchurch. Yeah, but then the end of the video, that's one I'm not unseeing. I should have gone back. I forgot about that. And now I remember exactly what we're talking about. All right. Well, this guy also named the porn company headquarters as one of his targets. So that was not, there was some question as to whether that was coincidental or just happened, like some kind of happenstance. No, it seems like he had a gripe with the pornography industry and was targeting the porn company HQ that was there. So as far as how this shooting happened, the timeline, it started about 11:35 in the morning Eastern time. Police received a 911 call reporting a person with a gun at the hotel. They arrived, as far as I gather, pretty much immediately. The gunfight ensues. It's over quickly. We get more information starting at 1:20 in the afternoon. Police confirm the suspect is dead. 1:40, police confirm a police officer has been killed. Mohammed Lamaine, I can't even pronounce this poor guy's last name. I'm not trying to disrespect him. It's Ben Ridwan? I don't know. This is the guy named Mohammed that the not the B article was referencing.
Officer Mohammed.
Right. At 3 p.m., police confirm a civilian also killed. This is Mikel Mizrahi. This is the rabbi guy, apparently. And one female officer was in critical condition, improved to stable. That's all the information we got through the afternoon yesterday. Now, much of the action was recorded on video by witnesses. I can't show that video because it's quite graphic. And frankly, if you don't have tolerance for that kind of thing, graphic violence of people dying, I would not suggest watching the video. But I can show you a sequence of censored stills to get an idea of the sequence of events. So starting here, now, what you see censored out right beneath or below the white car is that the officer Muhammad, who has been shot right at the start of the clip. So he is bleeding out. He is dying. On the left, the arrow is pointing to this female police officer. As far as I'm aware, we don't have an ID on her. But these two are the police officers who are immediately responding to the guy with the gun and engaging in the gunfight. Okay, so we have one cop hit. He's down. He's dying. We have a female cop taking cover. Then we see a civilian approach kind of on the left side of the frame. This is the rabbi guy. This is his name was Mikel or Michael or however you pronounce his name. He starts approaching on the left side of the frame. And as he approaches, the female cop who's taking cover is surprised because she doesn't see him coming and she just shoots him dead. And you see it all happen on the video. She shoots him point blank. He's dead. Okay. Then the actual shooter approaches. He comes at that same area where this guy is, and he comes around the same corner. The female cop then moves to the right away from this. She kind of runs away. But again, I'll remind you, her dying partner is kind of beneath right in front of the car there. She has just shot a civilian dead to the left. So there are multiple people bleeding out, dying, and she's running away, and the shooter takes her spot. The shooter takes up the spot. He's reloading his rifle, or he's taking shots. Now, at the end of the video, it's kind of hard to tell. Is he shot? Is he down on the ground taking cover? I couldn't really tell. I'm assuming that's where he's shot dead. He was shot dead. It's sort of hard to tell from this faraway video.
It does look like there's extra blur. Like the blur has now gotten longer.
I did that just because there are, at this point, many bodies. There are like 3 bodies in this frame. Ooh. So, yeah, this was me trying to clean this up for show purposes earlier today.
I did hear that everything went very, very quick. So
this entire sequence is about a minute long. It's about a minute of video. So it was crazy sense fast.
That this is where he was dispatched as well.
And so at first, when I saw just this video angle, I was talking with you, Turless, on Discord, and at first I could not believe what I didn't understand what this civilian was doing, because you have a police shootout in progress and you see this guy just kind of approach the police, borderline rush the police. And he's clearly aware of the shooting because the shooting is active. There's gunfire back and forth. And I'm thinking, who the hell rushes a cop to surprise a cop in the middle of a shooting? Get down, take cover. I understand that there are lots of questionable moves by this female police officer. However, I was kind of chick cop sympathetic because this
Yeah.
guy's move seemed so ridiculous until I looked at a second video angle that I can't show again. It's too violent, but it's out there. I will link it in the show sources. It's more overhead. You can see that as this guy, the reason he's prompted to move toward the police is down there on the right. Let me pull this up. Sorry. Kind of behind the tree there, the shooter is advancing. So this guy's trying to get away from the shooter. That's why he moved the way he did. And that's why he got shot dead, unfortunately. So in that context, I understand what he's doing, and I understand why he had to do that. So I'm no longer as civilian skeptical as I was.
Well, there should also be like a reasonable assumption that during an active shooter event that like it shouldn't be necessarily understood that running towards a police officer is unsafe. Like when you see, so you just understand that you are in an unsafe situation. You should assume that where the cop is should grant you a level of safety that you don't have otherwise.
There should be some protection there.
And it's chaotic. I understand. Everybody thinks when you look at this, again, this is like all of this event is under a minute. So it's very easy to look at it and say, oh, well, clearly I would have thought about it this way and done it that way. I get that. I understand that in a panic, in a chaotic situation where the bullets are literally flying, you might not make every single correct step. But at first, I really had no idea what he was doing. Now I get it. And
so my question is, in the image that we're looking at right now, just before she shoots the civilian, does she have eyes on the shooter?
The shooter is somewhere down kind of behind this tree, like down on what the far right side of the frame would be. Again, write shorter manifestos. And when you're filming a shooting, film it in horizontal orientation. Okay. Right. There's detail here that we need to see. The real terrorist is the person filming this in vertical orientation. They need to be stopped. We missed a lot of important information here.
They should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Yeah. But yeah, he's on the right side approaching. He's advancing toward the police at this point. That's what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. And, they have these shooter drills, or rather, don't the police have these drills where they select targets? It's like, oh, shoot that one, don't shoot that one, or is that just SWAT team? I don't know.
I've seen that in like at least video game and movie presentations of police training. I don't know how real that is or not, but man, even though I understand the way this guy's moving, I also. I kind of understand what happened from her perspective too. She has no idea what's going on, and there's just somebody jumping around the corner on her.
But see, the reason that she doesn't know what's going on is that she's basically just hiding for her life here. She's not really in a position to engage the shooter should he appear, which he did.
Yeah.
She was in a good spot. I mean, if she had used that cover to actually keep an eye on him, she might have been able to take him down. But instead,
well, here's the thing, and sorry to interrupt, but I just want to emphasize this point. She shoots that guy who approaches point blank, then he's dead. Then the actual shooter comes around the corner and takes that spot, and she doesn't shoot him. She had literally the same shot on two guys, and she shot the civilian, but not the mass shooter. Attempted mass shooter.
She may have been gun shy after shooting the civilian.
I guess, yeah. I mean, it is crazy that they were in this guy's. He's practically. No, that's too far. I was going to make a joke, but I'm not going to make any kind of Halo or Call of Duty jokes that might be relevant to the positioning of these two people right now. But this guy is on top of the dead civilian right now. Like he's standing over him.
Yeah. I just. I mean, everything about this sucks, but. I especially hate the idea that the cops, by accident, are helping him do his job of increasing the body count.
Actually, so the shooter himself, I think, only killed one police officer. I think that,
and I think he was shooting across the street, right at the company that owns Pornhub or whatever.
It sounds like he got some shots into their windows.
Yeah, he was shooting at their windows.
Yeah.
So under fairly standard, at least as it works in the United States, under fairly standard rules of how these types of things would get applied in court if the shooter were still alive, he would be accredited with the kill from the officer as well.
Absolutely.
I would have no problem with that
So
if he were held. Yeah.
It's the same thing like if you're in a high-speed chase with the police and the police T-bone somebody while chasing you through like a residential area and that person dies, you are charged with the death of that person. Not
It's like a felony murder concept.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, all right. We will move on from that. This is better law enforcement news, which is, for once, Antifa terrorists are actually getting some harsh punishment. All they had to do was shoot at people in Texas, and it didn't work out for them. But recall last July 4th, a gang of Antifa members conducted an attack on Prairieland ICE Detention Center in Alvarado, Texas. They used fireworks to lure agents out of the building. Then one of these Antifa members, I don't think he's pictured here, but his name was Benjamin Song. He was posted up in the woods with a rifle and he took shots and he actually hit a local police officer in the neck. That police officer survived. So I assume it's kind of a grazing. Yeah. But earlier this year, 8 of these people were, including the shooter himself, were convicted on these terrorism charges. That was back in March. Yesterday was sentencing day and they are all going to prison for decades.
Good. Long time.
The shooter, Benjamin Song, got 100 years. The other sentences are 70 years, 50 years, 30 years. This is actually the first ever, in this reporting it said first ever Antifa terrorism prosecution in Texas. I think this is the first ever Antifa terrorism prosecution, period, not just in Texas.
Correct.
Okay. And many had warned about free speech and other considerations in this conviction. And experts say this verdict is going to expand government powers to crack down on people with the supposed terrorism label. They want to make it sound like these guys just engaged in speech activity because, yes, some of the government's case included the fact that they made flyers or distributed reading material or the fact that they all wore dark clothes together or the fact that they used Signal to communicate. And that's true. That was some of the government's case. But all of that was in demonstration that they were part of an organization together. The fact of the matter is that they plotted this ahead of time. Some of them deny knowledge, but okay, I don't think the evidence supports that. They took the shots, and then not only did they take the shots, there was a bunch of assistance offered to Benjamin Song. He actually army crawled, like prone crawled through a farm field or something and escaped for several days or maybe the better part of a week because people assisted him in evading law enforcement. So there was all sorts of cooperation going on here. You may say, well, is it really relevant that they used Signal or that they printed flyers? On its own, maybe not, but nobody was convicted of using Signal. Nobody was convicted of printing flyers. Nobody was convicted of wearing black. And if you think wearing black is irrelevant, why did they all show up together wearing black? Was it just coincidental? Was it just happenstance? Wow, great outfit. I love black too. No, they wore black for the purpose of concealing themselves at night, which they then used to escape the shooting scene. And they did that for a week.
Yeah, I mean, all this is just circumstantial evidence in support of the primary claim, which is that this was a organized terrorist activity, which it obviously was.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a total in that cell. There was a total of what, like 10 or 12? But only eight
that.
Carried out the attack, but there was like 10, 12 or 16 or something like that members in the cell altogether.
That's true. Why didn't the other guys get convicted of wearing black or using Signal?
Or using Signal. They were in the Signal as well. They were printing the flyers as well. They didn't get even a single charge because they didn't have anything to do with the terrorist activity of shooting.
All right. Any other thoughts on Antifa?
Well, this is interesting because you have a lot of their family members and everything still holding to the line that this is an ideology and not an organized group. It's like, well, here we clearly have an organized cell. Ideologies don't have cells. They don't have cell groups.
Right.
So,
right. I'm so shocked, by the way, that one of those mugshots appears to be somebody who is confused about his chromosomes.
I was observing. Are you talking about the one like kind of second from bottom left? Which one?
I mean, I would say the one on the very bottom left.
Oh, that's not a woman?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe it is very unfortunate.
A lot of confusing figures here.
It sure looks like a very square jaw to me. And
okay.
Well, the one pattern baldness there,
Maybe
the one right next to
Yeah, I mean that one could be too.
them. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This one, you can't see my cursor, but it's bottom left and one to the right. That's the
Yeah.
one that looks
Definitely.
yeah.
I like the guy. Go ahead.
Definitely might be some they activity going on there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure, and that would stand to reason. I like the guy in the top middle though. He looks like a pirate.
Speaking of jawlines, yeah.
Yeah.
But, plural pronouns all around. All right. Well, I want to talk a little Dan Goldman.
No one knows what it's like.
To be Dan Goldman. Soon to be
Worst week ever.
former Congressman Dan Goldman.
Oh no.
I should have made him a proper I Will Remember You montage, but I didn't have time. And really, this whole week, I think, was just one big I Will Remember You montage for Dan Goldman. Anyway, now recall, Congressman Dan Goldman represents New York's 10th district, at least for now. That's Lower Manhattan. He was one of the Democrats' lawyers for the first Trump impeachment. So all those members of Congress who prosecuted Trump, they had their own legal counsel. That was Dan Goldman. He was one of them. Then he got elected to Congress in 2022. And 4 years later, it's apparently already over. More on that in a moment. We'll talk his electoral fortunes or lack thereof. But first, I want to talk about Dan Goldman's coffee shop experience, because Dan Goldman this week was publicly shamed and banned from a New York City coffee shop for being a, quote, genocide enabler, according to shop ownership. Being a Zionist Jew is what they're accusing him of. Now, did Dan Goldman enter this shop and say, surrender, Goyim, hand over your shekels to fund the Gaza bloodshed? Maybe in Congress, he might do that occasionally. He didn't do that in this particular instance. He just went into the coffee shop because his 7-year-old daughter had to use the bathroom. And because they were nice enough to let her use the bathroom without any sort of purchase, he did the right thing and he made a purchase. He bought a coffee as a gesture of good faith. Good for him. That's what you should do. Well, someone in the coffee shop management discovered, oh, that's Dan Goldman, and we don't like him because of his stance on Israel in Congress. So they follow up with a Facebook post, and they're going to shame him for daring to show up at their coffee shop to use the bathroom and buy a coffee as a gesture of good faith. This place is called Poetica Coffee. And of course, they have some language on their website about that everybody's welcome here, that all people are to be treated with unconditional dignity is
So
the
that
phrase.
was an effing lie.
Well, it turns out the dignity is very conditional.
Boo, Jews.
That appears to be untrue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
you're-
dignity will be acknowledged if
you're
you
gonna
are an
put me in-
Israel supporting Jew.
You're going to put me in a rough position in this slate of stories, because I'm going to be taking Dan Goldman's side on a number.
Oh, you're a
on
genocide enabler, are you?
on a bit of this.
Okay.
So
Well, okay.
Dan
Let's
Goldman
talk
is actually not the bad guy in this slew of stories.
Let's talk the principles of this. Well, I think he's the bad guy in the next one. I don't think he's necessarily the bad guy in this one.
I don't think he will be either. So.
Well, wait, do you know what the next story is?
I do.
The gay exhibitionist chief of staff. You think that that's fine?
It's not. He didn't hire him because of. We'll get.
What
we'll
the?
get to that.
Okay, we're saving this for a sec.
Yeah.
All right. Back to the story. Now I'm curious. Okay.
Well, let's just
Getting ahead of ourselves here.
We'll just do these. We'll take them one at a time. Let's just go ahead and do the coffee shop story first.
All right. The owner of Poetica Coffee made a Facebook post with this surveillance image of Dan Goldman buying the coffee.
Yes.
And and then they wrote in this Facebook post, Dan Goldman, we see that you stopped by our shop today for coffee. Do you see it doesn't taste like genocide juice? Or are you still having a hard time telling the difference? See, here at Poetica, we don't serve racists, fascists, homophobes, genocide enablers, or anyone in between.
I didn't see that on the sign. Dang.
Too bad we didn't recognize you right away, or we would have turned you away. We issued you a refund. We don't need your money. It's probably coming from APAC anyway. Enjoy your loss on Tuesday. Don't ever come to Poetica.
Fucking owned, bitch.
So I have a few questions here. What is genocide juice, and where can I get my hands on some?
What does that taste like?
Do they know what genocide juice tastes like? I mean, it's implied that they do, I guess. Our coffee doesn't taste like okay, whatever.
That is the only thing. Yeah, that's the only conclusion we can make is their coffee does not taste like genocide juice. So I will not be going to this establishment.
Yeah, lame.
Now, this is very likely a violation of New York's civil rights laws. The state attorney general, Letitia
hard
James.
To see how it couldn't be.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it only is if it gets prosecuted. If it doesn't get prosecuted, then it's not. So.
But Letitia and Zoran Mamdani, they don't care. They're saying nothing. Now, ironically, Harmeet Dillon at the Federal Justice Department Civil Rights Division says she's investigating. There may be a federal angle, a federal discrimination case here. And
because it was against a member of Congress? What is the federal angle?
Well, that's what I'm confused on. Like, there'd have to be like maybe some kind of racial component or something. I don't know that, because federal civil rights law has nothing to say about ideology, right? And they're accusing him of being ideologically unacceptable.
I mean, it could be anti-Semitism. I mean, if that's the angle they're going to take.
I mean,
that could potentially come in.
Again, it's hard to see how that wouldn't be the angle that you'd go with. I mean, yeah, I know everybody says Zionist instead these days, but where is this really all coming from? It's like, what did this guy do exactly?
Well, he sucked really bad in Congress. I'll give them that. They are right about that. I mean, I'm not defending that.
Neither am I, by the way, as somebody who's going to be defending Dan Goldman in this segment. I'm not defending his.
My stance is any business should be able to refuse service to anybody for any reason. I think this is phenomenally bad business to call out a customer for merely showing up at your place of business. But are they morally required to give him coffee or let him use the bathroom? No, but my question is, where are the bake the cake people now? You must bake the gay wedding cake, but you don't have to serve Zionist Jews coffee. And you can, not only that, you can smear them on social media just for showing up and being momentarily present.
Yeah, and that's where this really runs into trouble, isn't it? Is that we just can't get any kind of consistency about this sort of thing. It's all for my enemies, the law, for my friends, everything, that kind of thing.
Now, Skulldugger, are you making the claim here? What is your Goldman position? My position is he's not the good guy, quote unquote. He's just a guy. He didn't deserve this. But do you think he's a good guy in this situation?
He did nothing wrong.
Right. Okay. So we would agree on that.
He's a victim.
I would say the refusal of business wouldn't make him a victim, but the public shame. Well,
they didn't refuse his business.
I know. They kind of did. They refunded it.
Well, they took his business at the time and then smeared him online afterwards.
Now I'm thinking about, though, if he was just any guy, I would say it is victimizing him to make this post on social media. However, am I really going to be mad about publicly shaming a member of Congress for any reason? Based coffee shop. Maybe I have to maybe I'm going to Poetica and asking for a taste of the not genocide juice.
I don't know. I'm not going to support. I'm not going to throw my support behind the coffee shop.
Yeah,
took a shot at a dad who brought his 7-year-old daughter in to use the bathroom. Anybody who's traveled around with a young child understands that they refuse to use the bathroom at convenient times and will only use the bathroom at inconvenient times. And then the fact that he didn't just bounce without patronizing the business, the fact that he tried to do
that is a good guy gesture, by the way. That if Dan Goldman deserves good guy points for anything, it's that. That is a good thing to do.
This was a good fatherly moment, and then this was just a good citizen moment, and then for him to be castigated online for it. And
make no mistake, they would do the same. They would do at least as much if they knew who you were.
Oh, of course,
and bought a coffee.
Now, absolutely. I'm a public figure through my internet presence. I'm not a member of Congress. Even though I want members of Congress to be publicly disdained in this way, regardless of ideology. I wish our country had more of this. However, I know that they don't actually have disdain for the idea of federal power or the institution or the nature of politicians. They just don't like this one because of his view on one particular issue.
Great.
Which isn't-
So then call him out for his activity on the floor of Congress. Don't call him out for him doing the right thing in your coffee shop.
See, that would be so much better, because the thing that they're apparently mad about isn't even an American issue. So they're like,
Well, it is insofar as Congress is sending our money.
yeah, I mean, but we send our money in lots of places, so it's selective outrage.
It's all bullshit.
It is, yeah. So that's what I was going to say. If their message had been something like, you know what, we're going outside right now to change our sign to say politicians not welcome. if you're a member of Congress, keep moving.
All right,
that would have
then
been
it's
so
then
much
it's
funnier.
based coffee shop. Then I'm on board. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're coming up to the top of the hour, and I want to leave Skulldugger some time on John C. Reilly as well, because I know he's excited to talk about that. But I don't know, are we going to be able to get through this segment in time? Because
I
you're
can
going to
make
tell
my
me.
take. I can make my take quick on this one.
No, okay,
so-
all right. Let me just introduce it,
Sure.
and if you
I can
say
be- I can
Dan
be quick.
Goldman is the good guy here, I'm just hitting the end stream button. I'm going home. This was okay. So the coffee shop thing was just the first part of Dan Goldman's week. Also on Monday, his chief of staff was outed as a degenerate gay leather kink exhibitionist. All right, just the type
Correct.
that Skulldugger likes, I guess.
Anything else?
No.
Independent journalist Cam Higbee was at the Delaney Hall ICE Detention Center in New Jersey. This is where all the protests and the rioting has been ongoing. Dan Goldman was also there at some point. I don't know if that was Monday or last week or whenever. Cam Higbee tried to ask him about the violence that's been happening outside the facility, and Cam was blocked by Dan Goldman's chief of staff. This guy, by the way, I'm going to not scroll down anymore because not all of it is censored, and you shouldn't see this, and also I'm not sure if I'd even get away with it on YouTube. So Cam Higbee did some digging into who this guy is, and he found what this guy's into. Again, don't worry, these are safe for work. These aren't going to get YouTube banned. I don't know if they're safe for work. Someone might raise their eyebrow at
I
you.
wouldn't call any of the stories safe for work.
All right, here we go.
Congressman Goldman, do you condemn the violence from the protesters out here?
Excuse me.
Sir, I'm an American citizen on federal property here, sir.
Excuse me.
Is this federal property or no? This is public property, sir.
You should go where the press is.
You can't touch me. I do whatever I want, man. This is I'm an American citizen on public property.
I'm not touching you.
You did touch me. You came over here and touched me.
This individual works in the U.S. House of Representatives for Representative Dan Goldman, and he even bears the House seal on his jacket. He makes a considerable amount of money doing it as well. His name is John Blasco, or should I say John Punky, the leather daddy kink artist. He was introduced to the leather community in 2011 by Onyx NY Northeast, a leather kink organization for gay, bisexual, transgender men of color, where he held the president role in 2014. He is currently a member of BUILT, Brothers United in Leather Together.
Okay.
That's disgusting.
Asked for comment, Dan Goldman's chief of staff, John Blasco, said,
I dare you, fucking bitch.
oh, sorry, actually he said,
I'm about to ride the D.
sorry, my mistake. He said,
I want some facts.
there we go.
There it is.
Now, is Dan Goldman ashamed in any way that the guy leading his office is a degenerate gay exhibitionist scooping a six-figure public salary while engaging in such nonsense? No, he is not. Goldman responded with a tweet, I don't know who you are, Cam Higbee, but this is a shockingly pathetic and stupid tweet. I'm sorry you don't feel comfortable in your own skin, but you just told on yourself. Get it? Because he's gay. John is an incredible person and public servant. What exactly does he serve?
Dicks.
An incredible public servant who has served New York City with dedication. I'm the member of Congress. You can come for me, but stay away from my staff. I stand with John today, tomorrow, and every day. Do better. Now, I just have a few questions, Skulldugger, and I'll give you the floor. Or a few points about this statement. Number one, your staff is also our business, actually, considering we pay the salary. Number two, as Cam showed, it's very difficult to come talk to you without dealing with this gay leather guy, actually. So if you say, come to me, well, the gay leather guy is standing in my way. Number three, if we are actually allowed to talk to you, here's the question. Why don't you have any hesitation about employing a public sexual deviant exhibitionist as your chief of staff? He's not the intern who did a weird college thing. He's the chief of staff for this member of Congress. do you really think this is normal behavior for a quality person to exhibit? And if it's a matter of his private life, well, he does this on his own time. Okay. It's not just his bedroom behavior. This guy makes a public show of it. Of all the possible candidates you could have chosen for chief of staff, you chose the public sexual deviant. Why? But, Skulldugger, you're going to give me the pro-Dan case.
Sure. It's entirely consistent with his worldview, so I wouldn't expect him to act any differently.
All right.
I don't have a problem with the chief of staff limiting somebody's access to a politician in a public setting where they've not agreed to have public access.
Fair.
That's actually a security risk. So I don't have a problem with the chief of staff stepping in and be like, this is not the appropriate venue for you questioning the congressman. And at the end of the day, I have zero issues with Dan Goldman standing up for his staff. I actually respect him for doing that.
I'm about to ride the D.
Yeah, I would respect it more if it weren't for the way that he's doing it. He could say something along the lines of, hey, mind your own business, you know?
He kind of did. He said that in the first paragraph.
Right, but he goes into kind of defending the lifestyle.
Yes, which is consistent with his worldview, so I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
Okay, but
actually,
wait. To say that someone's consistent, you're not endorsing the worldview, are you?
No.
You don't have a problem. Okay, you have a problem with the worldview, but
I have a problem. I wouldn't endorse it, but he would. Dan Goldman would, because this is his bag. This is the thing that he signed up for, being a partisan Democrat.
That actually takes me back to the first story, because what I was going to say even about that one was, you know, I don't want people like, this is America. You know, I would much rather everybody be friendly and welcoming in coffee shops, right? I don't want people being excoriated just for buying a coffee and letting their girl use the bathroom. But the thing about it that annoys me is that Goldman is one of these people, like we see with this story, who is currently undermining the ethical foundations, the moral Christian foundations of the country. And so it's not exactly a shock that those chickens are coming home to roost, as it were.
But they're not, because
in the other story, you know, that the kind of radicalism that people like him foster is now trying to eat him, right? When he tries to go buy a coffee.
Well, now it just finally ate him, and that'll be the transition into our next story.
Well, true.
Yeah. He lost. He lost to
someone
socialist,
more progressive.
Bernie Sanders endorsed, Mamdani endorsed, former comptroller, controller, whatever the word is, Brad Lander.
So even his radical defense of his chief of staff was not progressive enough for his party.
Yeah.
Nope.
They still ousted him for somebody more progressive.
And it sounds like a lot of it was the genocide juice stuff, that he is backed by pro-Israel groups. Lander accused Israel of creating the genocide juice in Gaza. And that maybe, if not being the deciding factor, it was a major factor in this particular primary.
Which really says some strange things about the current state of the American electorate, at least in places like New York.
So now you're going to make me defend him on a third consecutive story, because now, as much as you don't like Dan Goldman, you are going to like his replacement even less.
I'm not convinced of that. I think they're probably like more interchangeable than we think. I'm not saying I'm going to love this guy.
I doubt it.
I bet he's going to vote in Congress like basically the same way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I think this does represent degeneration. I think this is definitely a lurch to the left, even of somebody as insane as Goldman, which again is pretty disturbing. This is the direction we're going now.
Just wait until 2028. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by the amount of support that crazy people get for positions in 2028. So
we shall see,
including president.
I'm running out of time. The other story I forgot about was this one.
That's a huge bitch.
Speaking of New York degeneracy, I'll be really quick, and then I swear I'll leave you some time on. Unless you have thoughts on it, Turless, I'm going to just let Skulldugger have the John C. Reilly thing, and then we'll get to calls. Appreciate everybody's patience. But I did want to mention this. This is the saga of the fat chick Knicks fan who stole a Knicks-themed public trash can and is now fired. Here is the video of her doing this at the Knicks championship parade last Thursday. She just dumps out a Knicks trash can on the street, which is New York City property, and takes it. And controversially, as of Tuesday, she's now fired from her job. Did you guys see what her job is?
I did, but I forgot.
I know that she worked for JP Morgan Chase. I didn't see what exactly she did.
That is correct. Can you guys guess her field or title?
She was like some kind of DEI supervisor or something.
He's absolutely right.
That was half cheating, but I'll allow it. She actually at a company that JP Morgan Chase acquired. She was a DEI executive director, diversity, equity, and inclusion executive director at a company called Infatuation. She put the fat in Infatuation for sure. And JP Morgan Chase acquired Infatuation. They made her an executive of some other type, but now she's fired. And so I guess at JP Morgan Chase, they have the cannons lady who did the forcible servicing on that Indian guy, and now this lady is very cannon-like her. She's just one big cannon. That's all they hire at JP Morgan Chase. Her name is Angie Baez, and as of yesterday, Chase is saying she doesn't work here anymore. JP Morgan Chase. So yeah, I mean, the company, if the company sees you on video stealing, they might have some concerns about you stealing elsewhere, and they're not going to employ you anymore. And somehow this firing is controversial. There are viral tweets going around asking questions like, I understand that theft is a crime. Now, you could just stop it there. But why should she lose her job over that? On what basis was she fired?
So then you don't understand that theft is a crime. Okay.
Right. You undermine it with the next sentence. You do something cringe in public and you lose your job? That's so stupid. No, it wasn't doing something cringe in public. It was the stealing.
I think
the stealing
lose
was
her job
cringe.
just for the littering.
That's true. It also was littering. And then there's this one. Call me the friend that's too woke. All right, granted. But I think that getting fired for something like this, especially when it has absolutely nothing to do with your job, and especially in this economy, is absolutely insane. Now, some might say in a difficult economy, you should really buckle down and focus on your job and behave extra well, behave good,
so
behave well,
hard?
whatever. Anyway,
what is the limiting principle to that?
The economy's rough, so they owe you a job forever.
Yeah, I can justify all kinds of weird things because the economy is rough.
I can justify being a gay leather exhibitionist and keeping my job if the economy is rough.
You know what, Matt? You certainly could.
As long as it's consistent with my ideology, then it's perfectly acceptable. But the thing here, committing crimes on your own time has nothing to do with your job, I guess, is the principle.
No.
If you murdered a guy but you were off the clock, like what business of that is it? That's not your employer's business. Now, the worst part, I don't know if you guys saw, they made that bitch give the can back. They took it back. The commissioner of sanitation posted, we recovered it. Welcome back. We missed you.
That belongs to the taxpayer.
That's true.
All right. Any other thoughts on the trash can stealing lady?
No, this was a garbage story.
Taking out the trash.
All right.
Trash taken out itself. I don't know.
Lastly, before we get to calls, actor John C. Reilly, has he ever, I mean, it's all comedy for him, right? I've never seen like a serious, okay. I remember like Brothers and stuff. And what's the NASCAR one? Ricky Bobby, right? Isn't he in that? Yeah. Anyway, he was on a podcast show called It's Open with Ilana Glazer this week, and he responded to some Elon Musk commentary about empathy. This was back in December on Joe Rogan's show. Elon Musk was talking about the concept of suicidal empathy, putting others' interests above your own to a self-defeating extent. And what John C. Reilly, he's characterizing it what he calls the empathy trap, though I'm not sure that Elon Musk ever actually said that himself, but that's what John C. Reilly's calling it. But he says we should not make empathy a bad thing or a dangerous thing like Elon Musk says. We should fully embrace empathy because empathy is a unique human superpower.
If you stand up for human rights, why is that a right or a left thing? Why aren't people on the right wing concerned about human rights? They're human too. This whole thing that like kind of has come into vogue of like empathy trap. You know, it's an empathy trap. You know, like that's what Elon Musk says. Like empathy is like, don't be fooled by the empathy trap.
Yes, yes,
You know,
yes.
stick to your agenda and what's best for you.
Holy fuck.
You know, don't start feeling bad for so and so. They're on their own thing. Look out for number one. Like it's like, wait a minute. Empathy is not a trap. Empathy is a superpower.
That's right.
That's what makes human beings exceptional. Our ability to like look outside of ourselves. We're not an alligator trying to just get the next fish. You know, we're human beings. We can relate to something that's not us. That, you know, like that's a superpower. Like, and it's also the cornerstone of civilization. The fact that we stay at the red light and don't just zoom out because we want to get through the light faster, because what will happen? Well, we might smash into someone. Well, you don't know that person. Yeah, but I still don't want to smash into them. You know, like those are the building blocks of civilization. That's the agreement
And
that we treat. I mean, it's very Catholic to do unto others.
Yeah.
You know, treat your brother as you would treat yourself. You know, like.
And to your point about the right wing,
It's crazy that we have to argue for these things right now.
It's
the world. That's a
insane.
really upside down world.
Are you a homosexual?
I'm going to adopt that strategy for my show. Just let people talk and go, yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, fuck.
I was gonna say that's definitely my favorite part of that whole clip.
What kind?
Yeah,
super host.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, Skulldugger, the floor is yours. What do you have to say about this concept of empathy?
Empathy does not exist. It has never existed. It's not a superpower. It is not a thing that humans are even capable of in the slightest. Depending on what you think you mean when you say empathy, you're probably actually talking about is a concept we've had for far longer than the introduction of the word empathy, which is less than 100 years old, is sympathy. What you actually mean is that you have the ability to understand the emotions of others. Empathy suggests that you have the capacity and ability to actually feel what somebody else is feeling. This is postmodern leftist voodoo, and it has never existed. On the right, we should actually start moving away from even using empathy. We should reject it entirely as a concept because it's bullshit.
I mean, yeah.
Thank you. I would say that his general point, you stand up for Dan Goldman's chief of staff. I'm going to stand up for, you're very empathetic for him, by the way, Dan Goldman's chief of staff. You understand exactly what it's like to be a gay leather exhibitionist.
I'm sympathetic.
I'm not going to fully stand up for John C. Reilly. He's wrong. But on the broad point that I do think it is the unique human capacity is reason. And part of high level reason is the ability to perceive a situation from the perspective of another. That is true. And he's right in that broad sense. However, what they mean when they say empathy, I think to your point, is that it becomes moral relativism, that there aren't good or bad actions or good or bad people. There are just people in different situations. And if only you understood that situation, you would understand why that person behaved that way. No, I wouldn't. I mean, I can understand this. You can understand a situation without endorsing the behavior in the situation. I can understand why a person might act a certain way without saying that's good. So you don't by default validate someone else's perspective or behavior. You try to understand it, but you measure it against objective moral standard. And that's where it goes wrong, like Elon Musk is talking about. When you reach the point that you are automatically validating someone else's perspective at the expense of moral standards, then you start contributing to decay and bad outcomes. And that's the problem. So he's like, there's like a nugget of truth in what he's saying, but it's taken to an absurd extent.
So, I mean, he even cites the golden rule, the do unto others as you would have them do unto yourself. And he tries to pass this off as empathy. That's not empathy. That's still sympathy mixed with compassion. Like those are, those are foundational to a lot of right-wing views. So him criticizing this as being like not right-wing or right-wingers being against this thing, the majority of right-wing views are actually based around these concepts of sympathy and compassion
and inherent human rights,
or of the concept
Yes.
of charity.
Yeah.
Being charitable. Same thing. It's not whatever this empathy stuff is, which the way that they use it is so broad that it basically just comes down to a very vague sense of being nice. Like, it particularly applies only to the people that they think you ought to be nice to.
Now, Turless, you are going to settle this before we get into calls. Who is which figure do you understand more? To whom are you more empathetic? Dan Goldman and his gay leather exhibitionist chief of staff, or John C. Reilly and his empathy for everyone attitude?
If I have to choose between the two, I'm probably gonna go. Ooh, man, I second guess myself every time I try to decide. How about Goldman? Well, we'll just stick with Goldman and his friggin' leather daddy.
You're fired.
You guys are both gay homosexuals, all right? That's all I know. Hey, have you considered joining the MC Club? Well, you should. Here's why. Hey, if you enjoy the show, please consider supporting the show by becoming a member of the MC Club. For as little as $1 a month, you will enjoy a series of exclusive perks, including ad-free videos and podcasts, video calls, and a community Discord server with me and other listeners, loot box giveaways with channel merchandise, your name in the credit roll after videos and streams, and much more. But most importantly, you will help keep the Duct Tape production alive and independent from all those sinister forces of control. Join the MC Club at mattchristiansenmedia.com/support. Linked in the description. All right. Time for calls. Make sure you guys are unmuted in the Discord server. Golden Leaf is up first. Golden Leaf, are you there?
Yes, I am. How are you guys doing today?
We
Doing
are
great.
well. What's on your mind?
Fabulous.
So, have you all heard of a little movie that's been drawing some controversy called Citizen Vigilante?
Someone messaged me about this, but I have not seen it. So I've heard of it, but not seen it. I don't know anything about it, though.
All you have to do is look at a couple clips that have been coming out of it. It's basically a pseudo just German guy takes the mantle, kills rapists in his family and his grooming gang. They're also not native Germans.
Is it a new movie, or is it just
it's
gaining
literally
attention?
new.
Okay.
Literally
Yeah,
new. It's been banned
brand
in
new.
Germany.
Okay.
So
literally-
independent, no doubt.
They're talking about banning it in other countries too. England, Scotland.
There's literally a scene where he points to, or looks at the father of these kids like, oh, you're raising them like this. Sister's blaming the girl for, spoilers alert, like for instance, the sister for, oh, you said she deserved it and all this. Oh, because she's wearing short skirts or whatever. And I was like, oh, well, we fled a country, everything with many wars. He's like, I don't think the good ones got out. I think the bad ones did. Yeah, it's 90 minutes, and coincidentally, after this voice chat, I am going to be watching it with some buddies.
Okay, well, if you got a minute, send me an email and let me know what you thought about it, if it's worth checking out or not, because I haven't heard much about it.
Yeah, it literally came out like I think a week ago, not even. And
So-
it's basically a dude saying, "Hey, court systems are being bullshit. I'm going to dispense justice."
So you've watched it, and now you're going to watch it again?
Oh, wait, I thought you
No.
hadn't seen. Okay.
No, there's clips. There are clips.
Oh, okay.
Some people. Yeah, there are some clips, and I watched some of the clips. So it's like, oh, this seems interesting. All right, time to watch it. But
Did it go to theaters at all, or is it just straight to like video and on demand?
it's I think just video.
I
wonder how long. Let's say countries ban it, like Germany and the rest of them. Now that's not going to happen in the U.S. as far as like the movie itself being banned, but I wonder if you might see some distribution platforms choose not to serve it, like say the Amazon Primes or the YouTube
already
movies
got it
or
on
whatever
YouTube.
else. Oh,
It's
so it
already
is
on
there.
YouTube.
They haven't taken it. They're not banning it. YouTube's doing it.
I literally purchased it too. So We're literally about to watch it right now.
Now you have a contractual arrangement that they are bound to. So praise be upon Raja Mahan for allowing you to see it.
Praise be.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate the thoughts. If you have a final thought, go ahead.
Just keep an eye out of Europe, and potentially there's been rumors that the IRA are stirring up again after what happened to a fellow countryman.
Yeah, I thought that's what they were doing in Belfast. I thought that was them doing the crazy rioting. Was it not?
Yes,
I don't know.
but it takes a while to get the guns from the quote unquote cement poured hideouts.
Cement poured I assume they probably have bunkers, huh? They've had them for a long time.
Stash houses, and part of the treaty was they would fill up those areas that had their guns and stuff in it.
So they like entombed them in concrete, so they got to jackhammer them out or something.
Oh, that's to say if they even poured the concrete.
So I wonder if they get activated again. What would the plan be? Are they going to go after more of these migrant, housing buildings, or?
I think so. My prediction is you're going to see a slow buildup of them again, and you're probably going to see videos of armed Irishmen patrolling the streets at night, and one or two of migrants getting shots. That's the worst case scenario. But
in Minecraft, on Call of Duty.
Yeah. No, in GTA. Duh. GTA 6.
All right. When's that coming out, by the way? Is that actually coming out in the fall? I want to play it.
It's just a permanent meme.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
It's a permanent meme. Actually, it got delayed again, Matt, for 2030. So.
Oh.
Yeah, it'll. So it's actually going to come out the day after Fauci gets indicted.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a great week. Yeah. All right.
All right. You take care, guys.
Thank you, Golden Leaf. Have a good night.
See you.
Okay, Fuen is up next. Mr. Fuen, are you there?
Yeah, hey there. How's it going?
What do you got for us?
I mean, I wanted to talk about the manifesto a little bit.
Sure.
But I guess first, I just one comment on this vigilante movie is like this director is kind of known for like over the top films. Most of his movies have to go direct to release. They don't really have like film releases. The main actor in this movie is Armie Hammer, who like most recently had this big controversy about leaked text messages where he's like revealing like a cannibalism fetish. So I'm sure that made the director want to work with the lead actor, and like even though there's some good stuff in it, it's pretty on the nose. It can be like pretty cringe. There is some gratuitous like nudity and sex. So before people just like jump in and watch it, I would recommend like prudential consideration of whether it's good for us, good for our souls to view it.
So that's not why Uwe Boll wanted to work with Armie Hammer. It's because they've both been blacklisted by Hollywood.
Dude, I bet you that the cannibalism thing was a particular thing. Like if
he's
he was
not
blacklisted,
a cannibal. It was a sexual innuendo. Everybody who's familiar with that strain of text messages understands he wasn't talking about actual cannibalism. He was talking about oral sex.
Skulldugger is our expert on this sort of thing.
He is our degenerate correspondent this evening. Degenerate translator.
I actually enjoy Armie Hammer as an actor, and I was sad to see him go. And so I looked into this story, and as soon as I understood it from all perspectives, I saw how silly it was. His cancellation was ridiculous.
I actually have no idea about any of this, so
I'm maybe it is, maybe you're right, but one of them
I'm right.
says, he says, I am a literal cannibal.
Yeah, because he was talking about oral sex.
Right. So, yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Literally doesn't know what literal means, but that's
literal means metaphorical now, according to some dictionaries.
And I mean, okay, so I guess the one thing I'd say is about this Hatfield thing. I've realized the bell's dung, but
I stole some of your time, so I'm
yeah,
sorry.
go ahead. Whatever your thought is, go ahead.
I would definitely disagree on it being like of a similar quality to most of the manifestos you see.
So you've seen it? Have you read through it?
Yeah. You could just search for it on like Internet Archive. Go to text,
I didn't see it. I guess I don't know the right corner of the internet.
So Tim has linked it to you in the Discord.
Yeah, I have
as
it.
well.
I have it bookmarked somewhere on Twitter, but
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've read decent chunks of it, and I would say like worth reading to understand, like the thinking of. I mean, like he's a revolutionary, as far as like like his striving thing is like constant revolution. Like he's citing people who don't discriminate so much between left and right. I know people were talking about like he cites Marx and he cites like Engels, and when he's defining his like when he's offering his definitions of like capitalism and some of this stuff, he is using like Marxist critique. But I think that this is common among people who still differ from Marx and Engels and like typical run-of-the-mill communists. So I would just say it's very interesting. Obviously, I condemn like what he did, but it's pretty fascinating, and it's not like the typical copy-paste of previous manifesto.
So there is some coherence to this philosophically.
Oh, yeah.
Is what you're saying? Okay.
There's actually things. There's some things I agree with him. Like he comes out and calls. He talks about women today being hypergamous whores, which is something.
Listen, even Hitler had some points here and there.
So,
yeah.
I mean, some of his criticism.
But
yeah, there are decent chunks of it that like make sense. I think he leans too far into like biological determinism, and at root, he is like an incel. So like there is this deep resentment that drips throughout a lot of the text. But like he's not an idiot. Like a lot of the other manifestos, they literally make no sense. You cannot follow a coherent point for like.
Yeah,
more
I mean
than one
they're
sentence.
usually word salad or something, but
Yeah. But this one's an interesting one.
he may be somewhat higher IQ than the others, but at the same time, I'm still not sure I buy the idea that he's intelligent, because what I kind of perceive from this sort of thing is that he is once again like many other people these days, the product of radicalizing elements that he encounters online. That's a little bit different from somebody who has through a long history of careful thought come to some sort of
if you read this, I think you'll very much so change your opinion. I mean, he's delusional, he's very wrong, but he's not an idiot.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for the information, man. I had not heard really any summary of his thoughts other than what I've seen in media reports. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, gentlemen. Have a nice evening.
You too.
Okay. Lastly, we're going to talk to Tom. Tom, are you there?
Yeah, oh, sure. Yeah.
How are things out in New Jersey?
Not too bad. It's
I'm losing Tom a little bit. There we go. Well, maybe not. Are you guys having a connection problem with Tom?
Days at the end of Father's Day.
Okay, there we go.
I may be having a problem here.
Yeah, I had some delay on you and some lag.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, I'll try to.
Duct tape all over the place.
Connection issues.
It's a disgrace.
Tom, I'm going to jump into some super chat, and I will come back to you at the end of super chat. Okay? Maybe
sure.
Try like restarting your software or restarting your computer or something, and I'll come right back to you. All right?
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Take care.
Okay.
Did you try jiggling the cord?
All right. Before we get back to Tom and we'll get into some voicemails and emails, we do have to check in on Super Chat. So let's see what we got there. Pull that up. I know I did miss one Super Chat message at the end of the stream on Sunday. I wanted to mention that from Long Dong John. Trump's biggest mistake with Iran is making threats that he either can't or won't follow through on. You don't start a fight unless you're willing and able to finish it. It is frustrating to see this war effort or whatever, this military action in Iran. It seems like it always goes this way with us in the Middle East, that we say we're going to go in with overwhelming force and just impose our way, and we kind of do, but then it gets complicated, and then we hesitate, and then there's all kinds of secondary considerations, and it just kind of lingers until eventually we leave usually without getting everything that we wanted, or maybe none of what we wanted. I hope that's not what happens.
Maybe even
here,
less than we had in the first place in some instances.
Oh, sorry, that was Tom's bell.
That's the whole concept of like we like to we like to brag about obtaining and maintaining air superiority. Well, we've had air superiority since the 1970s over the entire world. Yeah. As soon as we built the F-15, we have made. There's not been a day on the face of this planet that the United States hasn't had air superiority over the entire planet. So, like this whole concept of air superiority over Iraq, air superiority over Afghanistan, air superiority over Iran, all places that don't have air forces.
We're very concerned about Iran getting intercontinental ballistic missiles, which we should be. But you know who already has supersonic, intercontinental ballistic missiles? That'd be us.
Also, Iran's friendly partner over there, Pakistan, has some pretty nifty intercontinental ballistic missiles.
Yeah, so this definitely raises a frustration of mine with this whole Iran situation. Is I was giving Trump, and hopefully this dispels some of the belief that I was, a sold out member of the Red Hat Club,
the Red Hat Clan.
The Red Hat Clan, that's the one. Yeah. Because I was giving Trump a lot of benefit of the doubt with this Iran business earlier on, because
I was too.
I was basically taking him at his word on a lot of what he was saying, and now I'm sorry, but it looks like a lot of bloviation. It looks like he's not willing to follow through on a lot of what he said.
He's still bloviating. He just bloviated the other day. He's still talking about taking out their infrastructure.
And he was
bitch, we know you won't. Stop saying that. Like he
was making threats against the negotiating team and against the ambassadors and all kinds of people that he's not going to follow through on. And they know it. I've been seeing
knows it.
I've been seeing report after report after report about what the Iranians say. I mean, they're not even hiding it. They don't have it. Trump specifically said in the last couple days, in the last 24 hours or so, they have a lot of respect for us. And you look at what they say in there, you're like, they have negative respect for us. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I think outside of the broad philosophical skepticism I have with just our intervention internationally generally, which we've talked about for months on this, I think that's the most frustrating thing about the way this was conducted, is what turned out to be a lot of empty threats. Because as soon as you make threats, when you make one threat that you don't actually follow through on, you have removed the credibility of your threats from the table. They don't believe you anymore. And everybody, the all caps threats on Truth Social, it's to a point of like sad cringe at this point. It is a meme when he posts them. You can't, strategically, you can't do that. I understand there's a lot of communication strategy that goes into this, trying to get your enemy to think certain things and believe certain things. You can't do empty threats. You can't do empty threats with a toddler, man. Like, I've learned this very quickly as a dad. The second I don't follow through on a threat for punishment,
that rule doesn't exist.
Toddler knows you're a bitch and you won't do it. So
that rule no longer exists. As soon as there's no consequence, that rule no longer exists.
Yep. If a threat is not followed through on, you have to. If you feel yourself relaxing as a parent, no, you must follow through on principle. Otherwise, your kid will know that you don't mean what you say, and that's a problem.
I always refer back to your favorite movie, Jurassic Park. The Raptors test the fences.
Yes.
And if they aren't working, they will know.
Yeah.
Well, and true. we may have just inadvertently created a worse outcome for the Iranian people, because now they're seemingly one shot in a generation at getting out from under their oppressors failed,
which would have been very good for us, by the way.
And now their oppressors know nobody's coming to save you. So
it might be even more brutal.
It could be. What's stopping them?
Look at what's happened. In the past few days, Iran dramatically ramped up its arrests and executions.
Yeah.
Because they don't think we'll do anything about it.
We won't. They know we won't.
Right. So now
we have proven we won't.
Right. So they are essentially, they think they're safe now to consolidate power. And there have been all these optimistic reports about how there are fissures and cracks between the IRGC members, and there are different factions and they're fighting each other. And it's like, okay, how much of that is cope? You know, because what we don't really see that. What we see is that, like I say, they're consolidating power, they're executing the dissenters, the protesters. And this is, you know, going back to what you said about rhetoric, it's not even just like the threats, but it's also the promises. I said months ago that I disliked that Trump would go on to Truth Social and start making promises to the Iranian people that he's not going to follow through on. It's like, I would vastly prefer that you say nothing than promise rescue that is not coming.
Right.
Well, maybe Dan Goldman can run for president and save us all. It would be.
He's got nothing better to do.
Yeah, he's got lots of time on his hands.
Coffee's all around. Genocide juice all around, boys, once we elect him. Okay, K-Dog Mulligan. Empathy, that emotion that justifies having the government rob Peter because you feel bad for Paul, but you don't want to kick in yourself. Well, that's true, too. That's an interesting point that...
No lie detected.
Yeah, that government is used as this mechanism to fake your own charity. Well, sure, I feel bad for that person enough that I think someone should buy him a sandwich or whatever. But come on, I got bills to pay. I'm not going to do it. So, of course, someone else should be taxed for that to be provided because that's the empathetic thing to do. I saw a left-wing social media post today claiming to have seen an old man walking out of CVS crying because he couldn't afford his medication, and apparently he was on his deathbed or something. Maybe that's true. I don't know. There was no evidence provided, but to the person who posted this, I'm thinking, so you witnessed a guy tearfully worrying that he was going to die because he couldn't get his bottle of pills from CVS, and your response was, I'm going to make an internet post about it in generic terms to justify my own political priors. Your response was not, wow, this man is in a desperate situation. In fact, his survival depends on this medication. I think I'll just move along and assist in no way. Congratulations on being such a good person.
You'd think if he was making up a story, which he probably was, he would have made himself the hero of the story. That's what they usually do.
So,
I guess.
Here in California, one of the ways to guarantee that a ballot measure is going to pass is to just put some sort of rhetoric in there about how it's going to help the homeless.
Of course.
If it's going to help the homeless, then the empathetic bleeding hearts of California will go ahead and vote for it no matter what the cost. And several years ago, we had one of these measures passed, and I took to social media criticizing it. And I had actually somebody approach me in real life and say, like, they didn't appreciate what I had posted because it's doing God's work to help the homeless. And I was like, I named them 4 different churches in our town that have homeless ministries where you can volunteer and go directly provide meals, provide shelter, provide clothing to homeless people directly. You can introduce yourself to them. You can actually see their faces, learn their names, understand their stories. As far as I'm concerned, that is what God is calling you to do. God is not calling you to tax your neighbor in order to inefficiently, potentially, maybe one day, possibly spend a little bit of money towards the homeless issue.
Spending money. It's funny because I was talking to somebody recently about these panhandlers and how it seems kind of heartless in a way to ignore them the way that we do. And I was saying, if you see a panhandler, I think it's just understood that that's an addict, and handing them money is not helping them.
I could tell the don't forget the Pepsi story again, but I'm not going to. The panhandler in Oakland who wanted help, and I said, I'll buy you a sandwich. He said, no, I want cash. And I said, I'm not doing that. All right, give me a sandwich, but don't forget the Pepsi, son of a bitch. All right, Joshy boy. I remember a time in Rome when actors, athletes, singers, and the like were at the bottom of the social ladder. Well, I'm no expert on Roman history, but you guys have any thoughts on that?
That extended well past Rome.
Yeah,
that was that was the status quo for most of Western
Really?
civilization.
Only changed in the last 100 years or so.
Correct. Hollywood. That was true until Hollywood, and not even until like the early days of Hollywood.
There's a whole
that was true
interesting-
until the golden era of Hollywood in the 1930s.
Yeah, there's a whole interesting history to the idea of the celebrity and the groupie, which kind of these things were sort of born here in America. It's very interesting. People kind of take it for granted now that that's just like, surely that's how it's always been, but no. It was so novel that psychologists were sort of at a loss to figure out what sort of phenomenon they were observing here with groupies in particular, with early singer celebrities in particular who were, had people obsessing over them and trying to stalk them and showing up at their hotel rooms, and they were taken aback. They were like, "What is going on? What is this?"
All right, I got to get through these chats, so everybody shut the hell up.
That was the early stages of parasocial relationships.
Yeah.
Tyler Green says, that's who. Nick's girl looks like John Goodman.
Bingo.
Kind of, yeah.
No, he's lost weight. He doesn't look that bad.
Tyler Green, does anyone even know what is it, I think it's controller, right? But it's spelled comptroller?
It's comptroller, yeah.
I've seen competing, I don't know.
They're budget guys. They're budget
yeah,
people.
so he's saying
accountants.
Does anyone even know what they do? Yeah,
They're
it's some kind of, okay.
Yeah.
So the accountant for New York City is a Bernie endorsed socialist, or the former accountant?
That checks out.
Mamdani endorsed.
Yeah, and Mamdani, yeah. Well, Bernie endorsed him too, yeah. Tyler Green, what the Gin and Juice song? I can't remember how it goes. Strolling down the street smoking Indo, sipping on genocide juice.
Gin and genocide juice, laid back.
All right, that works. We'll allow it. Okay, we will stop with chats there.
I'll have to just circle back with you.
And we need to check back in with Tom before we move into some voicemails and emails. Let's see if Tom is still here. He is. Tom, are you there? Tom? Uh-oh. I still have a rough connection.
A little robotic there. Are you there?
I'm still here. Yeah.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tom. Let's try it, and I'll let you know if you drop out.
All right. So you were asking about New Jersey. Well, this is my favorite time of year because it has Father's Day. It has the solstice with its longest day of the year. Beginning of summer, which is my favorite season. My birthday is going to be at the end of the month. And as a bonus this year, I get the 4th of July 250th celebration in Philadelphia. So I was here for the bicentennial 50 years ago. So this is going to be pretty cool.
Well, that's awesome, man. Do you have any specific events you intend to attend, or is it just going to be a laid-back thing?
No, I'm just going to hang my flag and show my bona fides. But, awesome. I like staying at home.
Oh, yeah. Now, see, I would totally make a pilgrimage all the way to DC if I had the time. I'm gonna.
Have you ever been to DC?
Philly's got to be where the big celebrations.
I actually have been to DC several
times. And
you
still want to go
March
back
for Life?
Oh, you've been to the March for Life? Wow.
Yeah, a few times.
Yeah.
I walked and everything, but yeah. So me and hundreds of thousands of other people. So you're not likely to find me, but.
Yeah, if we're doing a true 250th, then it's got to be in Philly. Philly's got to be where the big celebration is.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to be there, but I really don't like crowds too much. So I'll just stay home and watch it on TV.
Now, see, I usually I just hang out with family and I find a fireworks show to visit. But this year in particular, I would like to be at the biggest party I could find.
Nice.
If I was not dealing with young children, I definitely would like to. I think we're just going to do like fireworks at home kind of thing. I don't have plans for like a big event, but I do want my neighborhood to at least be lively with patriotism. So I will contribute as locally as possible with all the red, white, and blue that I can offer.
If I wasn't in the America-hating cesspool that is California, but I mean, actually, because our state routinely catches on fire, a lot of places have banned fireworks. So There's an actual. It's not just hate for the United States. It is actually there's a practical reason.
They lit off fireworks during COVID, though. Remember LA going crazy with fireworks when they were banned? Do it again.
Yeah.
Do it again.
I used to live in California decades ago, and I swear back in the 90s, the fireworks were so much better. They suck now.
I guess I don't remember the quality necessarily, but you can buy. Montana has rolled back pretty much all of its regulations. Like we used to not be able to do Roman candles and bottle rockets and all the fun things. Now you can. I haven't really noticed a drop in quality, but I do know that like you got to come to the free states to get the best stuff.
Yeah, most fireworks that are fired off at fireworks shows these days are a less flammable variety. Which usually results in less impressive displays.
So I will say the illegal fireworks in California have only gotten better as time goes on. So.
There's a black market, huh?
So like the crazy.
Or do you
thing
travel to other states? How do you get them?
Well, yeah, people typically go to like
Nevada or something,
Arizona, New Mexico. Yeah. Like New Mexico, they sell fireworks year round. So like
Wyoming does that too.
I got a mailer a couple days ago from fireworks place in Pennsylvania, because I guess they can't sell them in New Jersey, but they can sell them in Pennsylvania. It was kind of funny for a while because they would be advertising over here, go over to PA to get your fireworks, and they'd be advertising on Philly along 95, come over to New Jersey to buy your marijuana.
Pennsylvania is restrictive on weed. That surprises me, but I guess it's kind of a purple state.
Well, it's all like you pretty much have to have medical.
Yeah.
In New Jersey, you don't.
The Garden State, indeed. I guess. All right.
Here in California, you actually need a prescription to not be on marijuana.
It's state enforced weed smoking. Yeah. Everyone must. Must take a hit.
It's our version of MAID.
Yeah. All right, Tom.
Any drug in Deep New World or something? Soma.
Yeah.
Thank you for the call, Tom. And if I don't hear from you before Independence Day, happy Independence Day to you and your family, and God bless.
All right. It's great talking to you guys. Take care.
Have a great night.
You too, Tom.
Okay, we are going to move into some voicemails and emails. Before I do, I'll always offer a reminder if you'd like to send an email or text message or voicemail to the show, you can do that through the contact page on my website, mattchristiansenmedia.com/contact. Tonight's first voicemail is from Bruce with the Black Cat, and he wants to talk about what happened to preserving Western monocultures.
Hi there, this is Bruce the Black Cat, and my question is, what do you think happened to the idea of a shared monoculture in the West, in your opinions? So the Romans, through conquest, forced Germanic, Celtic, Saxon, and other pagan cultures to adopt their governance, culture, and later on Christianity as their religion. The Reconquista forced the foreign Muslim religion out of Europe. Now Muslims immigrate and build mosques to govern and to government jubilation, and then starting with Henry VIII, the UK broke off from Catholicism and fought many wars. You have the kingdom under one religion is theology of the Anglican Church. Now King Charles celebrates all religions and prays with the Pope. During the age of imperialism, the Dutch, Spanish, French, English overthrew many tribal governance leaders and banned certain religious practices. Placed them under their own crown and rule of law. And then you had Canada, had residential schools which forced Indians to cut their hair, adopt Christianity, dress like a European, and learn in English, reading, and writing as their primary language. And now you have land acknowledgements, the preservation and resurgence of Indian culture and language. Now, some may blame women or World War II. However, the idea of melting pot started in 1782 and the mosaic in 1922 before the right to vote and in World War II. And this idea of multiculturalism and pluralism is not shared in Eastern countries to the same extent, even though they won World War II, just like the West. That is my question.
Thanks for the call, Bruce. I feel like I got a PhD in history. I'm going to take all your historical points as true. Frankly, I don't have all the information to say whether they're true or not. So I'm just going to say, sounds good to me. I'll take your point because I can't verify that timeline off the top of my head. But if
he was pretty spot on.
All right.
Yeah.
Checks out.
Okay.
And it's the question almost answers itself.
I thought the exact same thing. I was thinking the exact same. You're answering yourself by progressing through the same locales and having multiple cultures express themselves in the same location. Just take England, for example, and look at how it's changed over 1,000 years or so. And there's your answer.
Well, so you guys are connecting dots that I'm not. When I thought about this question, I was prompted to two things. And you tell me if this weaves into your theory of the case or not. Number one, decline of the family. Number two, immigration. And
no.
Well, let me explain my reasoning, and you tell me if it fits in any way. Now, decline of the family. When people leave family or they don't have family, there's less to protect, less desire to protect it, or nothing to protect at all. They don't care about preserving their heritage because they're not connected to their heritage.
That is correct.
And it makes you susceptible to propaganda about your history because you're not connected to your history. So I think that's a piece.
Lack of
and then
heritage.
The other piece is just the scale of immigration that we've had in this country recently, certainly in since 65 or whenever, but especially recently, where you just have a lot of unvetted hordes entering this country. And even if assimilation, integration, all of that is the goal, and if it's possible to some extent when properly controlled, I don't think it's possible on the scale that we've seen it certainly recently, where that volume of people you're not going to bring that volume of people into a country and have any kind of shared heritage or certainly a monoculture in the way he's describing. So those were my two factors, but what are the dots that you're connecting that are maybe broader than that or beyond that?
Well, I would say that you're absolutely right about the immigration thing, for one thing. You look at some place like Dearborn, Michigan, or some other place with a high concentration of Somalians or Indians or what have you. We're not talking about just like Chinatown or something really small and isolated anymore. We're talking about something really system wide. I mean, people ought to realize what time it is when the mayor of Dearborn is out there telling an actual American who you're not welcome here, get out. You don't represent.
Did that happen recently? Was that a real thing?
It happened.
I didn't see it.
It wasn't recent. When was that? That was a while. That was last year. But yeah, the Dearborn mayor, some guy comes up and raises a very mild objection at a city council meeting saying, I don't think we should name our street after this terrorist member of Hezbollah. And the mayor of Dearborn is like, hey, screw you, buddy. You should get out of town.
It's Osama bin Laden Avenue, and you're going to deal with it.
Yeah.
Oh man, that place is the bomb.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on.
But
your rim shot is earned. All right.
Those parties really blow up.
Okay. All right.
But I mean, as far as the monoculture thing, it should be pointed out that in the past, there wasn't monoculture on like a really broad scale. I kind of see what he's saying, like with the Roman Empire. There's a through line, right? There are aspects of Roman culture that were common to a lot of major hubs in Rome. But of course, as you kind of go outward into the provinces, they gain their distinctive flavor. And so the thing that we kind of think of as monoculture is also kind of distinctly American, but it's also distinctly 20th century because we had the proliferation of radio and television, and that was when people in really like large areas like the continental United States could experience something like a monoculture where we're all watching the same TV shows, we're all listening to the same music. We all kind of experience the same sorts of things. In the distant past, I mean, like take the UK for example. Notice how different the accents are in just like really small concentrated areas. That's sort of demonstrative of how things used to be to some extent before the proliferation of this sort of globalized media phenomenon. So I guess what I'm pointing out is that monoculture does not mean the same thing at all times. But like you say, what we think of as monoculture has disintegrated.
And certainly,
because,
I think the scale of the differences within that monoculture would be, quite different.
I would
than,
actually,
say,
I would actually argue that Western monoculture, as the caller stated, never actually existed as a singular concept. I think even his question proves that, in that he named multiple different iterations of cultures throughout the West. So
it's like empathy, dude, never happened.
Well, I'm just saying that those distinct individual cultures are an indication that a monoculture never actually materialized.
Which is why what I'm trying to isolate is right, that there is such a thing, but it means something different depending on what time and place you're looking at. Kind of like the word conservative means something different if you're talking about American conservatives or if you're talking about European conservatives. It's not exactly the same concept, but
it's the same concept. It's just applied to different values.
Right. So in light of that, if we isolate just American monoculture, if you're asking why that's disintegrated, I think it's for the reasons that Matt pointed out. I think it's also because of social media. The sort of podcast culture. Matt Walsh has talked about this a lot. He's talked about how...
Excuse me, we're on a podcast right now.
We are part of the problem, for sure. What was said about Dan Goldman earlier is inexcusable, okay?
I know, right?
We destroyed the respectable culture we once had.
Yeah. But the idea was basically that it's the algorithm. That now people can be in so many distinct, balkanized, siloed off subcultures that now we don't have any shared experience whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, it's very cool in that you can find people with a very specific interest. In a way, I think this very stream, we have we have the club Discord server, and we all talk to each other in that way. But you can get very comfortable and never experience a view a lot different than your own. In ways, you create this mini monoculture, but it actually society-wide creates this kind of fragmented effect like you're talking about.
Yeah, and we are seeing those subcultures proliferate to such a degree, and as it's been pointed out, somebody out there, who will have 1 million people listening to his podcast, and the vast majority of us will have never heard of him, and that's unusual for American monoculture.
Yeah, that's true.
In the past, it's like if somebody was that big, we would all generally probably know who that is.
Yeah.
But that's just not the case anymore with the way culture has moved kind of online.
All right. Thank you to Bruce for the call and for your thoughts. Next up is Kaiser in Gilroy, who wants to talk about foreign visitors for the World Cup who actually appreciate this country. This is Gilroy, is in your neck of the woods, Skulldugger.
It is.
Good Wednesday to you guys. I don't know if you've seen the abundance of posts and videos from foreign visitors here in the States for the World Cup. Their awe and positive energy towards this land has given me an idea. We need a foreign exchange program. For each of these visitors that want to stay here, we offer them dual citizenship, and in exchange, we put a lot of these ungrateful, pretentious, pseudo-intellectual douchebags that think America is bad or America is racist and ship them out to various countries. Are there any visitors from the African nations Ghana, South Africa, Cape Verde, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, or the Democratic Republic of the Congo? We'd be glad to take you in.
No, they have
monkeypox. It will allow us to
monkeypox
send
there.
some of these college-educated KTLA Americans that have been brain-rotted by their own tribalism and colorism to your countries. Really show them what life is like in Africa. Sorry, but I'm excluding Algeria, Tunisia, Egypt, and Morocco in the exchange. I see what you guys have done in Europe. We don't need that here. Pretty much I'm going to be a broken record with these American-hating morons that live here. If you don't like it, cue the Home Alone clip.
Get the hell out of here.
Now, quick aside, I actually have several Home Alone clips. That from, what is it, Angels with Filthy Souls, the gangster movie within Home Alone?
Yeah.
I also have Kevin reacting to Buzz's girlfriend. And I have a very rarely deployed sounder. In fact, I don't know that I've ever even pressed this button. But I've saved it because I thought one day there might be something so obscene that I would have to react exactly the way Marv did when the pigeon lady in Home Alone 2 sicked the pigeons on Harry and Marv. Probably would have worked for the Dan Goldman segment earlier.
There you go.
It's so shrill, I've always hesitated to press that button because that was... that one
I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that.
Yeah.
It got a little long as well.
I feel
I really appreciate Kaiser for like scripting out his voicemails. Like,
well, is it tongue in cheek? You were laughing like it's a joke, but I thought it was serious. Is there a joke I'm missing? Okay.
I was laughing from a common Californian sentiment. Like this guy, this is like So like these are the things that you hear in California that you think but can never say. And so like it's just
that's an edgy California opinion. Maybe some people should go away.
I was laughing out of like simpatico. Like this is
okay.
I vibe with Kaiser.
So as presented, assuming this is completely sincere and it's not there's no tongue in cheek to it. Well, first of all, we don't have a World Cup here. We're World Cup visitors here in my neck of the woods. So I know the World Cup is in a bunch of cities, but I'll take your word for it on there being genuine America appreciating foreign visitors coming around here. It's just the Indians.
It's been a whole meme on.
I've missed that.
I would actually caution towards it because it's easy content. So I don't know how sincere.
Yeah, there's what's his name, Freddie, the German.
Oh, yeah. they're collecting clicks based on their America appreciating. Is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty viral, and it is an easy way to gain clicks, but it is also good content actually. So these guys, if you haven't seen it, Freddie the German is kind of the pioneer. I hope I am getting his name right. So they're going around. They're posting these clips of just going to places like Buc-ee's and Bass Pro Shops. And they're just making a really In-N-Out, right? And there's this great Japanese guy on Twitter who goes by Nobunaga, and he just writes this poetry about ordering food at American fast food places, and it's great stuff. Great.
So
content.
even if it's a little insincere, it's still rah rah go America, which is a valuable sentiment, even if the person is maybe a little bit questionable in their motives.
That's the point that I'm making. I'm like, I don't even care if this is for the clicks. I just like seeing it. This is go ahead and produce all the clickbait content you want if it's saying how great my country is.
I would grant that like the general idea of swapping out America hating US citizens for America appreciating immigrants could be a good idea. The dispute I have, the reference or the mention of dual citizenship, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing. First of all, I don't necessarily want people awarded citizenship right away because there are a whole host of rights that go along with that and a difficulty or impossibility of removing them. But I also just don't like the concept of dual citizenship in principle, in premise.
I actually think we should be more comfortable with dual citizenship.
All right. Dual citizen gay exhibitionist, go ahead.
I've met a lot of
they have the best genocide juice, by the way.
No, I've met a lot of based immigrants who come here for the liberty, and it really sucks that these people can never vote here because they're dual citizenship.
But there is another side of that coin, though, awarding citizenship too easily, which in this premise is just like, hey, man, you came here and said you like American soccer and you liked our Starbucks, so here you go. Here's your citizenship.
I'm not saying that we should award it willy-nilly. I'm saying we should be more comfortable with awarding it to the people who think exactly like I do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you can have the stamp, Skulldugger approved group thinker.
Yes.
You're welcome. All right.
Yes.
We've had these kinds of conversations on the Discord server.
We have
that, yes, I've said a couple of times, if I could have my way when it comes to immigration, it would be those people and I would gladly replace a whole bunch of people, even people who were born here, with people who are actually happy to be here. We've got these who was it? Not Zoran, but I don't know, somebody else like him, who's like, technically they're born here, but they still most keenly identify with some foreign country.
Well, that's Hassan Piker.
Hassan Piker,
yeah, he was born in New Jersey, but it was immediately shipped off to Turkey, and that's where he was raised, and so he views himself as a Turkish national, but he is a U.S. citizen.
Right. Yeah. Heck, even Obama, where did he spend a lot of time in Indonesia or something?
Nobody knows. He spent a lot of time in every country on the globe.
It's racist for you to even ask.
I
thought he put that in his book, that he spent a lot of time in Indonesia, and that's where he learned to love the call to prayer in Islam or something.
Right, yeah. What was the part where he said he learned to love other men? Oh, right, that was a love letter to his supposed girlfriend.
Yeah. He lays up.
He makes love to men in his mind. Yeah.
He appears to have married one. So,
I think Kaiser actually had the correct solution with the button he requested.
Get the hell out of here.
Our country would be greatly improved if we adopted that policy in many different areas, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Kaiser. Last voicemails from Red Mexican, a new caller, a new voicemail leaver.
Nice.
He wants to talk about the recent hoax hate crime in Chicago, the Asian kid who did the cross burning.
Hey, yes, Matt, you got the Red Mexican here. First time, long time. I'm going to talk about that 21-year-old fella, Merlin Liu, our local Midwestern Gauging. I'm actually on board with Robert on this one. I'm pretty sure he didn't know. I think he was ignorant as all hell. He's 21 years old. That puts him right in the time frame of when we started tearing down all the Confederate statues and we were teaching the Civil War to where nobody got their feelings hurt and all this. I'm pretty damn sure he didn't know anything about the Civil War, the Jim Crow South, or any of that. I spent 2 years in a multinational NGO as a volunteer, and the Germans and the Japanese that I ran into of a similar age, some people did some bad things, and some of them weren't really understood by the world, and then the United States came and tore our country to shreds. I'm pretty sure that's what we're teaching these kids now about the Civil War. I guarantee you he didn't know. So, with that being said, he was trying to make a statement against MAGA. He was trying to make an anti-Christian thing. You stop and think about it. You want to make an anti-American statement, you burn our flag. You want to make an anti-Christian statement, you burn our cross. I think this kid is a freaking idiot. I think he is ignorant. I don't think he even understood how ignorant he was. I think the Dunning-Kruger effect comes into play with this guy. And that's the best thing you can hope. Otherwise, maybe he is an SPLC patsy. But honestly, thinking that he is a Chi-Com operative to sow discord in this country, dude, that's weak sauce. We've seen what the Chi-Coms do. They fly balloons over our country and take pictures of anything they want to.
Sure.
What's burning a freaking cross in this country? Anyway, Matt, good talking to you. You got the Red Mexican down here in Kansas. You'll be hearing from me again. Peace.
Well, thanks for the call. We look forward to the next voicemail. Now, interestingly, he called this kid his local Midwestern Gauging, as in gay Asian. And when I looked at this voicemail, it came in and the service offers a transcription so I can see what was said. It translated that as Cajun. He's Cajun. He's not Gauging.
As somebody with roots in the swamps of Louisiana, I resent that.
Well, so obviously he's talking about this Asian kid who Robert and I discussed in the Hoax Hate segment on Sunday. You can go back and listen to that if you want the full context. But yeah, so Robert and I were discussing because this kid claims, oh yeah, I burned a cross in the park in downtown Chicago. I had no knowledge that that's like a KKK thing that's racist in intent. I was doing this to protest.
0% chance.
So you're saying you are you're opposing Robert.
It's such a specific iconography that there's a 0% chance that you don't know the significance of a burning cross.
It seems almost impossible.
0% chance.
But his behavior makes no sense.
I get it. I get it. He's retarded, and I fully
But why
agree.
does he turn himself in if he's trying to hoax a racist hate crime?
I fully agree with Red Mexican that this guy is not a Chi-Com operator. He's too stupid for that. They would.
I think it makes sense if he is. I'm still Team Chi-Com.
They would not have chosen somebody this retarded. They are way too savvy of operators to have picked this moron. This guy he's too stupid. He's too idiotic. He's doing interviews. He's doing interviews with the media before he gets arrested. When have you
that's
ever
what I'm saying
a
is
Chi-Con operator do an interview with the media before they get arrested? It's
well,
never
that is
Maybe they're getting more sophisticated. Maybe it's throwing you off.
That is a hole in the theory. The thing is, like, there's
He's
almost
just a
no
moron.
way in which this makes sense. But if he did know the context of the burning cross and lit this burning cross with the intent of making it look like an authentic KKK demonstration, why did he turn himself into media? That doesn't make any sense either.
Because he was identified by the media.
He sent the video to them. That's how it happened.
His face was already out there. He
There was.
He was caught on CCTV, and they put it out there that this is who we're looking for.
He
and then
was not
turned himself
identified
in.
until he identified himself to them through a video.
I know. Once again, he's not that bright.
You put a picture of an Asian out there in the public, they all look the same, man. How are you ever going to tell which one's which?
He's not smart enough to have gotten away with it. He's incredibly stupid.
I do think he probably turned himself in because he was scared he was going to be caught anyway.
He didn't turn himself into the police. He turned himself into the media.
But effectively, he did. Effectively, he did.
But
yeah, but
that's
true. And
he's not in handcuffs in this.
That probably
he is charged and he is booked because he identified himself.
I understand that, but the cops still had to come get this kid after this interview.
Right. So what he was trying to do is get out ahead of it and build a sympathetic picture of some kind. Although I don't know that he succeeded in that because he does look like an idiot.
Yes, he's too stupid for sympathy.
I want to entertain the idea though for just a moment, just for the sake of argument.
Okay.
Let's just entertain the idea that he really didn't know that cross burning was a KKK thing.
The Robert perspective, yeah.
Yeah. If we entertain that, doesn't that actually make it kind of worse in a way? Because a hate hoax would be one thing. That would be bad enough. His argument is that he's actually a terrorist. His argument is that he actually wants to send a message to Christian nationalists, as he terms them. What kind of message is being sent by a burning cross with the MAGA hat on it? I mean, that seems kind of terroristic. Like, it seems violent in its signals. So I feel like the hoax would have been less bad.
But the KKK are terroristic in their activities as well. So even if you are trying to link to the KKK,
it's just a question of the target. Yeah,
right. But at least then you could argue that the message is fake. Like let's say that he was false flagging, right? And he's like, yeah, I was just trying to make Brandon Johnson freak out, which he did. That it's not safe for black people out there.
Brandon Johnson's reaction was my favorite because his brain absolutely broke because he had no idea which way to go with this.
Right.
One.
Did you guys see
he was caught in between. Like, I don't know the proper messaging. I don't know what I'm supposed to say here.
Really quick aside, did you guys see Brandon Johnson's new term on the transgender genocide?
No.
He did some
transfemicide.
Correct. Yeah, transfemicide. Which
what is that? I was wondering what that means. Does that mean that it's specifically targeting males who identify as women?
Which doesn't mean, as many have pointed out, there weren't any murders of transgender people in Chicago last year. But why are the trans masks, as in masculine, why are they excluded? Why not trans maskicide? Why only trans femicide?
The trans masks are safe. Don't worry about it.
Well,
I don't know.
See my comments on this Asian kid. Brandon Johnson's not really that bright. One of my favorite things about this story, it actually links back to the Jussie Smollett story, and that is how difficult it is to actually acquire a MAGA hat in Chicago.
Yeah, he only had a plain red one. He didn't have the authentic.
The Osendairo brothers were also wearing just plain red baseball caps. They were unable to actually source and acquire MAGA hats,
even though it's MAGA country.
Yes, in time for the mock assault. And this kid also was unable to source.
It's like having fake Jordans. Shameful.
All right. Let's move into some emails. Thank you to that was what was the caller's name? Red Mexican. Thank you to Red Mexican.
I want to know why he calls himself Red Mexican now.
I don't know.
Red as in Republican?
Or maybe he's an Indian who's also Mexican.
That's what I thought. It's like maybe he's one of our Indian brothers.
Yeah.
American Indian.
Well, thank you, Red Mexican. We look forward to your next call. We've got some emails here. We'll catch up with Super Chat. We'll call it a night. But Taker610 on YouTube. Have you guys seen Matt Walsh's video on Emmett Till? In the video, he says Till's father was a serial rapist and abuser that was eventually hanged for his crimes. He also says Till grabbed and assaulted the woman and made the accusations, who made the accusations against Till, hardly just a wink. And she did not recount those accusations and, she did not recount those accusations, and it had been reported or has been reported. Is all of history a lie or what? So first of all, I've not seen what Matt Walsh said. I don't know a ton about the Emmett Till case other than I know it was a famous lynching. So take my general opinion about this specific case with a grain of salt.
I think that's a typo. He meant to say she did not recant.
Okay, yeah. Recant. That would make more sense in that.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I don't know a lot about the specifics of Emmett Till, so I might be wrong. But I wonder how many people in this country were actually lynched for the reasons of, one, I just don't like black people. I'm not saying zero, but is that a thing that was going on commonly? Number two, completely false accusations, as I understand the Till story is supposed to be. Again, I'm not saying those things never happened, but if you look at what's going on with today's trends as far as racial attacks, if today's trends are even remotely true historically, I think a lot of that lore of lynchings are probably questionable. So it does not surprise me to learn that there's a lot of questionable things about the Emmett Till case, apparently.
All right.
Yeah.
So I will approach this by saying, Taker, it's great to see your continued support for the channel. He's a frequent guest in the chat, so love seeing the email here. I have purposely been avoiding that video for Matt Walsh, specifically because I don't really care what Matt Walsh's take on Emmett Till is, to be honest with you. I just sort of chalked the Emmett Till situation up to it was bad reporting of the facts in the first place, which coupled with time has just created a cloud and a muddy situation that we will never actually fully understand what that situation was.
Is that an anti-Walsh bias there? Jeez.
It's not necessarily an anti-Walsh bias outright. It is on certain topics. This will be one of them. I don't trust Matt Walsh to report on a situation where the facts are so nebulous, honestly. So that's why I've been purposely avoiding Matt Walsh.
It wasn't that bad.
I thought we were going to hear that Emmett Till was awesome and did nothing wrong.
Emmett Till did nothing wrong. No.
No, he was just adding a little bit of nuance, as it were, if I may use the term. But yes, so what the email says is correct. The woman does not appear to have ever recanted her story. That was a claim that was made by somebody writing a book.
And she claimed he did what? What was the claim?
Right. So she claimed
I don't know.
That,
I actually don't know. I don't know what was the claim against Emmett Till.
He followed her and grabbed her and said things kind of like, similar things to what those Bulgarians said to Sophie. In the UK. So,
but she was of age, so
she was.
He wasn't. She was. So it's like the opposite.
Right. So she was harassed by Emmett. Of course, as Matt Walsh admits in the video, it's like that doesn't mean that the guy deserved to be beaten to death. Of course.
So is that what I thought he was hanged or beaten or both?
He was beaten, then dragged, then hung.
Okay.
So he was beaten, dragged behind a car, and then hung.
Yeah, and then his mom really famously had an open casket funeral And
not only open casket, she allowed the post-mortem pictures to be published in the newspaper.
Yeah, and that was part of what the big wave of civil rights era propaganda, and the interesting thing about it is that it maybe there are aspects to this story that I don't know, but it seems as though this was largely a reaction to a perceived predator. Now, maybe there's some racial bias involved there still.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to leave
Emma. I mean, there under no circumstances, even if you accept the worst story about Till's behavior, under no circumstances is the correct behavior to mob him, beat him, drag him behind your car, and then lynch him.
Yeah,
that is. I think that is under no circumstances the correct societal behavior.
Right.
For anything, even if you believe the worst of the accusations against him.
I do think we all basically agree with that. I also agree with the message that the incident was used to great effect, probably in excess of what it should have been. Like George Floyd, but obviously George Floyd was
oh no, George Floyd deserved it.
Floyd that's what I was going to say.
All of it.
And that George Floyd was less justifiable in this sense.
Well, yeah, in that he wasn't a 14-year-old boy.
Yeah.
All right. We will leave poor Emmett there. I got to keep it moving because I got such deep questions, you guys, and I'm worried that this next one is going to take like an hour to answer.
Oh, okay, we'll keep it short.
I'm enforcing a strict rule on this that each one of us will get an answer and there will be no follow-ups because this one really revolves around the question of whether the Garden of Eden was communist. Okay, this has come up a couple times. And Micah writes in, "Hey Matt, I'll try to keep this short."
Look
at that! Oh no!
But it's a complex concept that I think is important, so I'm going to allow it. I'll try to keep this short. Will you, Micah? No, I appreciate your question. But I was surprised by you and your co-hosts' responses on the comment about the pre-fall Genesis account being quote-unquote communist, let alone that you granted small family structures being similar. Both of these are explicitly anti-communist. Pre-fall Genesis was the truest form of a justified theocracy. God provided all their needs and expected perfect obedience because he is the creator of everything. He freely blessed Adam and Eve with his creation. In a parallel form, the family reflects this example, with the husband leading and both parents freely blessing their children through the fruits of their labor. We could argue that this is what good parents ought to do, but the moral requirement ultimately stems from God, and the structure is still not communism as described. Communism is the theft of property not created by the governing authority to redistribute as they see fit. In neither the Genesis nor the family example is the authority structure taking what was not theirs to begin with. It's a philosophical sleight of hand that purposefully tries to equate evil for good and vice versa. Keep up the great work, respectfully, Micah. Well, thank you, Micah. Appreciate your thoughts on this. So as far as my own thoughts, I think that I actually think there's a lot of agreement here. And I think what disagreement there might be really depends on how we're defining communism and who the supposed communist in this situation is. So if people missed last week, we had this email question that said, well, whenever I hear that communism has never been tried, or when people say communism has never worked, I don't like it because the Garden of Eden before the fall was an example of successful communism. Adam and Eve had this perfect abundance and all of utopia. And so on your definition of communism, Micah, the theft of property not created by the governing authority to redistribute as they see fit, I can see why that doesn't apply in the way that you framed it up. The property wasn't stolen. The property was God's. If anything, Adam and Eve did some stealing in a way, or at least disobeyed. The classic definition of communism, not that these are incompatible or yours is wrong, I think it actually corresponds with what you're saying, but it's state ownership of the means of production. That's what we're talking about here. In the garden, production is owned by God. There is no private property for people necessarily. What I'm getting at with the prior emailer's question is that I think the garden is communistic, if not squarely within the definition of communism, in that there is no scarcity and it's just utopia. Nobody has to work. All resources are provided according to need. That's kind of the communistic sense, even if it's not squarely within the communist definition that we're talking about. There are communistic elements of this utopia. And the reason that becomes a problem is because if the theme that we were talking about too last week is if communism were possible, the only way it would be possible is through God, who can defy the rules of this world as we know them, or at least had a world that didn't operate according to the rules post-fall, where resources, the world now, in the world now, resources are scarce, labor is required to build prosperity. When we think that we can create that sort of world, the Eden world, contrary to the way the world works now, we are necessarily substituting ourselves as God, and that's where we get into trouble. I have some more thoughts on the family. Likewise, I'll take your point that I don't think it's strictly correct to say the family is a communist structure, because again, we're talking about communist in the government sense, even if there are sort of communist themes in the distribution of resources within the family. But those are my thoughts on the garden itself, and maybe we can, if there's time, maybe we can come back to the family. But I want to give you guys some time on that.
So my take on the family is that the family, if performed correctly, can't be communist. It has to be theocratic, just based on structure. In order to have true communism from a Christian or Judeo-Christian sense, it requires unanimity with God. So you can argue that the Garden of Eden was final stage communism in its exercise, in that it transcends the state. So the ultimate goal in communism, according to Marx, is to eventually break down the state because you no longer need it. However, you have needed a state to form the mindset that is necessary for the end result. So if you want to flash all the way to the Garden of Eden and say, like, this is the model for end stage communism, I guess you could make that argument, but it's really weird to have end stage communism without any of the steps that got you there.
Yeah, it's all theoretical.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
So there was never a state, and now all of a sudden you have stateless communism,
right?
Which is a bizarre argument to make, and I don't think it really works in all facets. But if you want to point to the Garden of Eden as an example of what end stage communism would look like, I don't necessarily have a problem with that.
Well, see, that actually explains a big problem that I have with Marxism from the beginning, because I think a lot of it is essentially a corrupted, distorted version of Christianity. So I agree with the emailer that what's annoying about this is the semantic overload. You are retroactively applying these labels that mean one thing to something else. So if by communism you mean a society in which there is no government, first of all, and no private property, and everybody just has what they need and there are no laws whatsoever, even that isn't quite right, is it? Because even then, there was a law. It was just God's law.
That is true. There are two rules in the Garden of Eden. So
right.
So you don't have a lack. You don't have a lack of government. There is still the governance there. So
exactly. But if you're talking about an organized state run by people, yeah, there isn't that. But again, we're kind of we're trying to mold a philosophy into a space where it doesn't quite fit. So
it's never meant to fit.
Right.
The Garden of Eden doesn't have to apologize for not fitting the model of communism.
Exactly. So I don't like the semantic overload. I think it's kind of ridiculous, and I think it's one of the ways that Marxism generally tries to gain more purchase in the culture and has for the last 100 years.
I agree.
by trying to play on Christian sympathies in various ways, like the phrase that comes from Scripture, from each according to his ability, to each according to his need. That is a scriptural verse, but it was describing the early church and kind of how they were running things as a missionary movement. It is not describing how a governmental structure ought to be organized.
But there are so.
Hey, I said one answer per person, you son of a bitch.
I get that, but I mean,
All
even
right. 30 seconds.
Even given that there are communist tendencies within Judeo-Christian ethics that I will acknowledge. Like, for example, in the Old Testament, the Israelites, as they moved into the Promised Land and started creating their own crops and their own farmlands and everything, they were instructed to, when they harvest their crops, to not harvest the edges and allow the needy to come through and basically glean what they needed. That is a communist coded perspective. That's a communist.
But notice it is still built on private property. They have to actually have
correct
fields that they own.
And it is instructed by God. It wasn't instructed. It's against human nature. So,
thank you, Micah. Appreciate the question. Next up is Chief Justice. How much of a necessity do you think it is to own a home before having children? In other words, do you think that it is a bad idea to raise children in an apartment or a condo? Now, it's great to own a home first if you can. It would be advisable, but it is by no means a prerequisite. Here's the prerequisite. Get married. Okay, your commitment to your wife is your commitment to your children. That is all that is required.
Well,
and
get a job, get married.
Well, yeah, I mean, generally women are attracted to employed guys, but not always.
I don't care. Like, if that is the order.
Well,
in case you find the woman who didn't care that whether you had a job or not.
Yeah,
get the job first. Then
my radical opinion would actually be, you know what? Get married. If she'll have you, if you're unemployed and she'll still marry you, okay, fine, and then get a job, because you don't want to be a bum who doesn't provide for his family.
Well, what I have learned in my own fatherhood is if you honor that commitment, the commitment to your wife, you're going to find a way to do what is necessary.
You're going to find energy you didn't know you had.
Yeah, in every
sort of thing.
in every child that we've had, I have had uncertainty, I've had doubt, I've had question marks about what the future is going to look like and whether I'd be able to provide sufficiently, and I still have questions about that today. I always will. But when you are a father and when you are a husband, you will find ways to work harder than you ever have before. I've never worked harder than when I was a married man and certainly a father. And that is because I have people who depend on me and a future that depends on me. And it's not just about my own enjoyment or, the fun things I could buy for myself if I work hard or something like that. It is stressful, but it is critically important. And obviously you want to be in the best financial shape that you can be, and you should prepare young for that. But if you have the right woman and you're married and you want children, do not delay for financial fear or financial reasons. You will find a way. And if there's any regret I have about being a husband and being a dad and all the financial components that go into it, it's not doing it earlier in my life. I wish we'd be in a position to have more children. God willing, we will. But hey, man, I get it. I understand why the Duggars went to 19 plus or whatever they did. Every time it's a blessing. It's a joy. You will find a way because the responsibility will force you to. Don't let fear drive your decision making here if you're otherwise in position.
Well, and home ownership is not the end all be all of being a productive member of society. In fact, like that's a mindset that we're just going to have to progress past.
Yeah, like Matt said, it's a good thing, but that's something that many generations of people have not even had the luxury of having,
and fewer will. Like we're going to get to a point where these current coming up generations, the Generation Z, Generation Alpha, many of them will never own homes.
Unfortunately.
And does that mean that they should never have families?
Right. Does the human race cease because the housing market is bad? No.
No. So you should not restrict your. I mean, it's the best thing for you personally is to find a woman, marry her, and have kids. Like that's the best thing.
As tough as buying the home is, finding the right woman is tougher these days.
Finding a home could be the best thing that you do financially. However, the best thing you're going to do personally for yourself, for your own person, for your own spirit, for your own human existence, is to find a family. Is to find that core reason for existing. That is the basis for all society. The human experience is based off of the foundational values that are build a family. Build a family that builds a family. Build a family that builds a family that builds families. That is how we progress as a species.
When I was a young child in West Covina, I lived in an apartment and I had a great old time.
Look, you could have a sweet beard too if you rent. All right. We have 4 left, so I'm going to try to go quickly because I want to make sure we have enough time for Super Chat in a sub 3-hour show. Next up is Buster Cherry. Buster Cherry.
Got him! Got him!
Thank you for emailing, Buster. Nice. We need to reclaim the N-word. They stole it from us like it was a bike left in the front yard. We used to wield it with power. Or we used to wield the power of that word to shut them up. Now they use it on us. It's our word. And we should be able to say it as much as we please.
He's absolutely right.
Take it back. Make it hateful again. Now, I know this is kind of tongue-in-cheek, but there's this totally serious element to it as well, because it seems like a lot of race relations currently is just black people or other racial minorities, but a lot of KTLA Americans baiting white people to say something perceivably racist. Like, look what happened to the white monster kid outside the Carmelo trial. Just like agitating and intimidating him, hoping he'll say it. Will he say the word? Because if he says the word or anything racist perceivably, then we can claim victim. And if we can claim victim, then we're entitled to collect some sort of benefit. There's really no such thing as victim of a word, though. Of course, you could be defamed. There's fraud you can commit by lying and all that. But victim of a singular word is not really a thing. So we need to move beyond that socially. And hey, what better way to do it than to make the N-word hateful again? I say he's on to something.
Nope.
What?
Nope. Nope.
What?
There's no value in the word. Like so I understand that there's a lot of people in this community who have a lot of praise for people who use this word and all this stuff. Y'all live in places where it's not going to get you maimed or killed.
But that's the problem, though.
I am not in any. I'm not racing to use this word anytime soon. I don't
think there is such a place where you might not get maimed, but if I were to just walk down the street and go N-word, they would. Nobody's applying.
Do you understand how close I live to Oakland?
No, I'm not saying you wouldn't get. No.
If you
I'm not saying you wouldn't. Hold on.
If I take a 5-minute trip up,
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I don't doubt that if you go down to the old Fruitvale BART station and start slinging ends, that you're going to survive that. What I'm saying is, I don't know that there's any part of the country where you might not get maimed like you would at the Fruitvale BART station in Oakland, but it is not going to be the only place in which it is actually celebrated is the internet. There is no public place physically that it's actually like applauded other than the SPLC KKK meeting or something.
You missed my point. I'm not saying applauded. It's that you potentially risk nothing.
No, I don't agree with that. I don't think there's anywhere in the country where you risk nothing by saying it.
Okay, risk little.
Okay.
Your
you'll be
life
fired
is not
for uttering it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is actually what I have a couple of thoughts about this. For one thing, I liked it better when I was a kid, when people could actually use words like this in at least an academic sense and not be like strung up for it.
Okay, I agree with that.
Kind of like, although not exactly, but we had I'm sorry, I forgot his name.
Mastronardi, the Spokane teacher who read it in the context of To Kill a Mockingbird.
Exactly. And it's like, you can't even do that anymore. without getting in big trouble. I think that's totally ridiculous. You should be
I
able
agree
to
with
do
that.
But
that's
on the other hand,
that's not what Buster Cherry's talking about. To be fair,
as a Christian man, my problem with this is almost like it's reached the level of sorcery practically. Like notice the words, notice the word, the language he used. We used to wield the power of that word to shut them up.
Right.
You see what I mean? It's like,
I think he's like partially tongue in cheek, but there is a serious point he's making. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, this is what I'm getting at, that it has almost reached the level of magic where it's like, it's an incantation. I just use this word and people lose their minds. Suddenly chairs are flying at Waffle House or whatever. And
I should be clear. I'll offer this concession. The society I want is where words are words, and sure, you may not like some and you might feel bad if you're insulted, but if you're insulted, you say, you know, sir, I don't like you. I'll move along with my day. And that's it. And they can call us honkies or crackers, and other people can call them ends, and it's like, whatever, man, that's an insult. It's an insult like any other. I don't like the concept of special words, that's all.
I just don't understand what reclaiming the word, what is the value of reclaiming this word?
I think
there's no societal gain. There's no positive demonstrable value to society for reclaiming this word.
I think to give this as much serious credit as possible, it is removing the power it has against white people currently. And I agree that it does. Not just that you can't walk through Chicago and say, hey, look, an N-word. The fact that, like we're talking about, the fact that if you read it in look at, you mentioned Mastronardi. You can't say it in an academic context a lot of the times. Even Foundering, who was on the show on Sunday, who wants to sing ragtime songs. Now you might think there's a little bit of trolling going on in what he's doing, and he'll say there is. But should he be removed from certain places on the internet for uttering a word in that way? No. I mean, it's like removing the special word power in that way, I think is the goal, rather than like, I would agree that taking the word to wield power over others is not the precise way to put it.
So Foundering's use of it goes along the lines of what Turless was saying, and that is the academic use of the word.
Right. And I actually appreciate that in the sense that it does take away this sort of sorcery element of it, that we're removing that kind of potency from it.
Right.
It's like it becomes just a word again, not a magic word.
I said the word and nobody was harmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Buster. All the best with your cherry. Here's another one. Agata Pudek. I got a poo deck.
That's disgusting.
Okay. The thing about another racism question. The thing about racism is that for all of human history, everyone on Earth has been extremely racist. Then white people decided to stop being racist, and now they are the only race that isn't extremely racist. Since everyone else hates white people, they've convinced them that they are in fact the most racist and should hate themselves. This allows them to justify their own anti-white racism and make white people feel like they deserve despite being the least racist group in human history. Okay.
Correct. So let's bring racism back.
Right. Let's wield the power of the N-word once again.
Now, preference for everyone.
We'll just undo our rejection of racism, and therefore we will undo the criticism against us. Boom.
I do.
Easy peasy.
To the point in this question, I do find it very interesting in this context and in a lot of others, where the opposite of what is presented is true. When I think of John C. Reilly, what he said earlier, it's so upside down that we have to talk about like respecting people's rights. What are the rights he's implying there? Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm thinking he's talking about things like transgender rights, gay rights, and all of these sorts of relatively new developments that actually are historical anomalies. When you talk about what's historically strange, whether you view those legal concepts as right or wrong, those are historical oddities. So it's not at all historically weird that we're talking about these things. What's historically weird is you considering those things to be valid. That's the historical anomaly. Again, I'm not saying you're right or wrong necessarily. I'm saying you are the historical weirdo in that instance. In this case, I certainly agree with the premise that white people are presented, like current white people are often presented as some sort of historic anomaly. Like they are racist on some level that we have not seen. The reverse is true. I'm not even saying like white people uniquely, though I certainly agree with the general premise here that I think the racism against white people is really the acceptable form of racism. What you're saying here, that white people being the least racist they ever have been, and people perceiving them, other races perceiving them as somehow historically more racist or at some high level of racism, is, again, it's the same thing. It's if I can create that perception of victim status, then I'm entitled to collect a certain benefit, and that's all it is. But it does amaze me how the inversion of reality can become conventional wisdom if you just kind of say it enough.
Yep. In-group preference for everyone or no one. Those are the options. That's my opinion about this.
Yeah, I mean, racism is the norm, is the societal norm throughout human history.
Thank you, Agata.
What is intolerable is this idea that, like you said, white people are somehow the only people who are now or ever have been racist, or the only group that, as some kind of a block, has done anything bad to anyone else ever.
Yeah.
We need to move past that nonsense.
Thank you, Agata. Next up is Be Humble, which is just a normal name. I don't have to be careful reading this one at all. Might I suggest the punishment for the baby murdering gay guys be to strap them to a table and perform gender reassignment surgery while they are fully conscious. They should then be put to death by way of, this is all in Minecraft, of course, put to death by way of shoving a rotting 2x4 up their new holes. Also, the caseworker who was charged with that baby's well-being should be publicly flogged and forced to register as a child abuser for life. There should be zero tolerance for putting ideology above the safety of children. You're supposed to be an advocate for. So all of this, of course, is with respect to... Oh, did I forget to pull up that story? I did. Thought I had it. But it's the story of Preston Davey, that poor baby murdered by the gays who adopted him over in the UK.
I don't need that story put on screen.
I will not read through that story again, as I did last Wednesday. If you missed it, if you'd like to hear that story, though, of course, it comes with a legitimate trigger warning because the material is that upsetting. Yeah. But speaking of the opposite being true, we often discuss on this stream the death penalty and what sorts of crimes could or should be death penalty eligible. This is a case that, as discussed last week, I think commands the opposite question. Is there a such thing as a crime for which there is actually no earthly justice sufficient?
There are quite a few.
This would be it. Like even the harshest death penalty critic, I think, is going to have to cave a little bit on a crime on this level. Like, I mean,
I'll play the role of the harshest death penalty critic here.
All right, you go for it.
For what it's worth here.
Can we say, for the sake of time and for the sake of discussion, assume there's video of them doing the murder? There's zero doubt.
Or for that matter, genetic evidence.
Yeah. We're not questioning whether they did the act. It is 100% confirmed.
Yeah.
I still got to hold to my principles and say that I just don't.
Skulldugger here will say he has a problem with the state carrying out the execution.
Correct.
But I ask you, if not them, then who? Because someone has to do it.
God himself, I guess.
If somebody else does it, then they will put themselves at the consequence of the state to administer justice against them. So
yeah, see, that's so. As always with these kinds of questions, the whole thing: what is the point of the state if not for a bit of delegation of power over this sort of thing? Because otherwise, it's back to that whole lynching thing from a couple of questions ago.
Sure, if you can guarantee me that the state never puts an innocent person to death, then I'm 100% in support of capital punishment and the death penalty.
These days,
but the fact that you can't guarantee that means that the the problem is it's dual-sided. There's a dual-sided misjustice for every single innocent person that you execute, in that the actual guilty person got away with it. They went free.
But there is an injustice in this case in pursuing insufficient justice for these people. But if I understand your position, and I respect it because it's one that I've held and frankly, I don't know, maybe will return to as I find this very difficult to navigate. Would you say that in your opposition is because mistakes are inevitable as a policy, it is unwise or unjust? Right. But would you say in this case, if we know for sure that these guys did this, is there any injustice in executing them in this isolated instance?
Yes, because I
Really?
still hold I'm not going to take it by a case by case basis and say that
That's
okay,
exactly how justice should be.
But the
carried
fact
out is on a
so
case
the
by
fact
case
so the
basis.
fact of the matter that you can point to this one case that says, okay, we definitely got it right here. Therefore,
I could
we should
point to a whole bunch
No,
more.
yeah,
well, let me finish
I
my
agree.
point. So the
Yeah,
fact
okay.
the fact that you can point to this one case and say that we definitely got this one right, therefore we should have the authority to execute innocent people. That's
Well,
exactly,
I'm trying to suss out the
the
position a
authority
little
that
bit.
gives the state the authority that gives the state the ability to execute the guilty is the same authority that gives them the ability to
Okay.
execute the innocent.
Let
It's
me
the
point
same
something-
authority both ways.
Let me
I don't
point
think they
something
should
out.
have that authority.
Let me point something out to you. That woman who shot the innocent civilian in Montreal had a gun because we expect her and other cops to use lethal force, to deploy lethal force against threats. And she shot the wrong guy. So given that accidents can happen, do we now disarm the police completely and not allow them to shoot anyone else ever?
You disarm that police officer.
Fair point. That's case by case right there for sure.
So okay, well there you go. The fact of the matter is, as long as cops have guns, there is a potential that they shoot the wrong guy.
Sure. So then every state that has executed an innocent person, somebody who's later exonerated, ceases to have the ability to execute people going forward.
I have a problem with that too, because some of these
Okay, so there you
exonerations
go.
from the so let's just say, for the sake of argument,
My
I don't
dreams
agree.
of a sub 3 hour show are over.
Oh,
All right,
sorry,
carry
sorry.
on. No, it's an interesting discussion. Carry. I don't mean to interrupt, but
let's just say
Actually, I do,
for the
but-
sake of argument, we could do that. But I disagree, because the Innocence Project exists, and they get people to walk based on technicalities, not based on innocence. And that has confused a lot of people. They will think that those who get to walk based on technicalities are innocent. That is not true. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, we could do what you are saying, and we could limit. And by the way, this is not even just a hypothetical, because we could do this. We could actually, because of the way evidence is gathered these days, we could actually, if you really want to, pass laws that say execution is in particular permissible in cases where there is conclusive video and genetic evidence, like in the cases of rape, murder, you can find the evidence of the perpetrator on the person who did it, or on the victim rather. So sure, limit it to that. We could do that. We could actually eliminate it, and I don't think there have been many innocent people executed in this country, but we could tighten.
Okay.
We could tighten the
The
requirements.
numbers argue with you. So
for the sake of time, we'll just say we could tighten the requirements to a level of evidence that would basically guarantee that innocent people are not executed.
Can I summarize this question? And I mean this as like a way of sussing out your position, not as like a line of attack. So I'm confused whether your opposition, and maybe it's both, is your opposition that because mistakes are inevitable as a broad policy, we should not do it? Or is your position that as a matter of justice, the death penalty is never justice? Those are two different things.
Yeah, no, it's more the former than the latter.
Okay. That I understand more. Okay.
I don't want to live under a system that, by the same authority that grants the state the ability to execute the guilty, they are also given the ability to execute the innocent under that same authority. And because there's nothing limiting them, it's the same process, it's the same authority.
Yeah, I mean, this will be my final thought on this, just because we could talk about this for another hour.
I know,
but
I have more to say,
Turless's point, I actually found very persuasive in my own thinking on this, which is because I agree that, okay, the power of life and death in the hands of the government, in the hands of the state, is major. If they make mistakes, that's very bad. We can't allow that. But how am I supposed to? Every single law enforcement officer walking around with a firearm has the same life and death decision-making power.
Yes, but that's a split-second decision, not a calculated decision that went through.
Isn't that worse, though?
Yeah,
Are we more likely to make mistakes?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's even worse that
But that should be an argument to disarm, right?
No, that's even worse that an innocent person was still executed after going through that level of rigorous testing.
I mean, the end result is an innocent person killed either way.
That
is one really more unjust.
Diminishes the likelihood of the person's innocence, though, is going through the process.
You would expect that it would, but the numbers do not bear this out.
No,
I'm sorry.
That's really not true.
You and I can have a conversation about this offline.
All right, you got anybody who wants to argue
anybody
with...
watching, join us in the MC Club so you can see us debate.
If you consider joining the MC Club, well, you should debate these guys. Hey, if you enjoy the show, please consider.
This conversation is actually already in the debate. The debate channel on the server, so
it gets spicy sometimes.
It does, man. You know, I got sucked into a debate about property in the debate channel yesterday as well.
I don't know if you followed on with that one. I carried your position after you left.
Oh no,
it got absolutely insane.
All right. So. Well, I say that with full respect to the other guy who was debating. You know, I appreciate his support for the show, and I appreciate lively discussion. So if you're listening, thank you for that. Thanks for making the community an interesting place, because that debate server, I'm gonna have to think twice about getting involved again, because you talk about time suck.
Oh, I know.
All right. Lastly, we got who's our third emailer. Dick Von Dougal. He comes from a long line of
Dicks.
Hey, what is your official opinion on psychedelics? I was a hardcore atheist till I took some, and then I found God. I agree with Christian morals, but I can't see evidence of miracles. That's why I'm not a Christian. I got married last year. I was hoping you might have some advice. As always, love the show. Well, I don't know much about psychedelics specifically. To my knowledge, I don't think I've taken any. Maybe if I have, it's been a very long time and it was an isolated case. Not a big fan of drugs in general, would not encourage them, but I'm glad that you kind of found God. You found God, but you're not a Christian. Okay, so you're like a theist, even if you have not embraced Christian faith specifically. To me, finding God, and I hope that you come to follow Christ as well, but I'm sure you'll do that on your own terms. I think that is more important broadly than a little substance use, provided you didn't harm anybody, though I still would not consider it advisable. I'm not totally clear on what the advice that you're asking for is, but if you are finding God and you're getting married, you're doing it right. So I would encourage you to continue on that path and continue to seek God. You are already recognizing that there is a moral framework to this world, and you should continue to seek its origin. And if you continue to seek its origin, that path that has led you to God and your wife is going to lead you to better places. So seek that above all else, even the mushrooms, however good your mushroom experience might have been. And Godspeed. Carry on. You're heading in the right direction. So good for you.
Well, all I would say about this is, no, I don't recommend psychedelics, but I wanted to latch on to this business about miracles. The thing is, okay, so Mr. Von Dougal, you already say that you believe in God. If by God you mean the creator of everything, right? And I assume that's what you are referring to here. So the intelligence that created the universe, if that is who you are talking about, then miracle simply refers to something that happens as a result of that power being exerted, which is to say, it's not really something that you think you haven't experienced, but you are here, are you not? that is an example of that power having been exerted. When you look at scripture and you see things like Jesus walking on water, is that not a lesser feat than creating the universe? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you don't see that very often, but it is not by any means a stretch to believe, again, if you already believe in God, that he could do things like that at specific moments in order to prove his identity or something along those lines.
Skulldugger?
I have nothing to add here.
I thought you were going to take the pro mushroom position to round out the night.
There's nothing wrong with psychedelics. I don't have a particular view on psychedelics.
Okay.
If by chance they happen to intersect you with the divine, and that leads you into a better life, hey man, good for you. You beat the odds.
Thank you, Dick. All the best to you. As a reminder, if you'd like to send a voicemail, email, text message to the show, you can do that through the contact page on my website, mattchristiansenmedia.com/contact. Really quick refresh over on the voicemail inbox. Make sure we didn't get any come in during that discussion. We did not. All right, so we will round it out with Super Chat. We will call it a night. Let's see. Over on Tippy Stream, where did I leave off? We got Tyler. Okay, I think
I feel sorry for whoever's having to defend all the people, like all the takes from the people I've pissed off next week. I feel sorry for whoever's on the show next week.
Remember, if you want to go tell Skulldugger how wrong he is, or tell me how wrong I am, or Turless how wrong he is.
Go find me in the Discord.
Go to the Discord, sir. All right, which you have to join the MC Club to get access to. That's how you do it. Producer
It's
Tim,
worth it.
I have the manifesto if you want to link it, if you want to link it after the show. Okay. I don't know if I should, because you might get in trouble with YouTube. YouTube is very sketchy about what you can link. Also, in response to John C. Reilly, the issue isn't about human rights. It's about mislabeling something as a human right. Correct. Plus, empathy is bad when it overrides logical thoughts and actions. Yeah. Tim has a couple other thoughts here. I'm just going to read
bad.
them.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, it can be neither good nor bad. Another big problem with celebrities talking about empathy is they are usually free of the consequences of the things they demand we all be empathetic about. For example, how many raping, murdering illegals do they deal with in their neighborhoods? I doubt John C. Reilly houses many of those himself. Maybe. I'd invite being proven wrong on that.
Hey,
Tim,
I bet he lives in California, so potentially coming
does.
soon.
Tim says the big issue with immigration is how many people you bring in from the same part of the world. When immigrants have an entire community from the same place, they can balkanize. And that's, when it's just a handful of them, by necessity, they have to integrate. Yeah, I would agree with that.
There are whole sections of cities, and in fact now whole cities, that essentially have been taken over by as essentially the housing cities for HB1 visa Indian immigrants here in the Bay Area.
That is confirmed to be a big driver of housing prices, by the way.
Yeah.
No, that smirking lady on the BBC told me that one has nothing to do with the other, or whatever that English channel is. I can't remember. Tim says
she may have been incorrect.
As per what Turless said, Dearborn Mayor Abdullah Hamoud told resident Ted Barham, however you say his last name, he was not welcome in the city following a dispute over honorary street signs, sparking national attention. Hamoud doubled down. This happened in September of last year. I missed that one, so I'll have to look into it.
I'm surprised. Yeah. Could have sworn it came up.
Tyler Green adds, even in Texas, fireworks are scuffed now. We had barn burns, then we have, and now we have little wimpy rockets at best. Might just be a liberal Austin thing, though. Yeah, I'm not going to buy anything fancy this year, and with my boys being young, they get a kick out of the small stuff anyway. And plus, cool fireworks are expensive, man. I can't justify dropping like hundreds of dollars on fireworks. So just have fun with the small stuff. And
man, back in 2016, I think it was, I was at a 4th of July fireworks show in downtown Grand Rapids, Michigan. That was a cool show. I don't think they put on shows like that anymore, but because that was like 10 years ago now. But
my favorite 4th of July was visiting relatives in the swamps of Louisiana, where the
Do
highlight.
they have Gasians or Cajuns?
Well, there's no Gasians there, not a single one. They would be fed to the alligators. The highlight of the experience was at one point there were these good old boys tossing hand grenades into a section of swamp.
Legit ones?
Yes.
We're not talking like firework reproductions?
No, actually.
Where the hell did they get hand grenades?
It's Louisiana. Are you kidding
Those
me?
aren't those ATF registered explosive devices though?
Probably.
Are we talking homemade, or did they have like
No, these were like legitimate military grenades.
Like, surplus or something? All right.
It might have been surplus. They had a whole box of them. And it
Maybe
was
there was
crazy
definitely a Fed in the swamp watching that, whatever
it was
going on
crazy
there.
because it wasn't even like an ammo box. It wasn't like an official box of grenades. It was like an orange box. It was like
Probably got their hands on a whole bunch of old ones from World War II and stuff.
They could have been, because they really didn't care if they went off or not. I mean, they're throwing them into water.
That sounds like a Far Cry thing, like throw a hand grenade at an alligator and it flips over and floats to the top of the water. That's probably what I see in that game.
I wouldn't be surprised if they killed a few alligators that night. So
They created some endangered species down in the bayou with methods like that. All right, Injured Guardian. Eden wasn't communist. Adam and Eve were straight.
Bingo.
He also says, reclaim
There's
the
some more
word.
semantic overload for you.
I like that.
We all discuss neighbors now. I'm not sure I get that one, but we're talking about reclaiming the N-word. I don't know. Reclaim the word. We all discuss neighbors now. I'm not sure. I don't get the discussing neighbors component.
I don't either.
You're over the top of my weary head this evening.
I know.
But Injured Guardian is always too clever for me. He does this to me all the time, and then I feel stupid when I get it explained to me.
Maybe he just sends in random things every now and then just to confuse you and make you think that he's more clever than he is.
Long Dong John, everyone in Black Bloc right now, or everyone in Black Bloc during a riot should go down for conspiracy. They coordinate that in advance. Well, it's true. I mean, if you are participating in a coordinated activity for unlawful purposes, I don't think that's unreasonable. Yeah, you're wearing black, all right, but why? What are you doing there participating?
Are you part of a group or not?
Yeah. It's not. You're not going to get busted for wearing a black T-shirt going to the store. All right, you're wearing black as a tactic, as a part of a criminal operation.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like a type of uniform.
Yeah.
It is straining credulity here to tell us. Just coincidence. I just felt like dressing like this today.
Injured Guardian, new book recommendation.
We just so happened to all wear the same thing.
Yeah.
What a coincidence.
New book recommendation, American Paladin by Larry Correa, pronounced like the country. Oh, Korea. Okay. P.S. Reject in Minecraft. Embrace with my prayers.
Bingo.
I don't know if I have the balls for that yet. I'll try. Thank you, Injured Guardian.
And thank you for encouraging literacy. This is something that is Turless approved.
There you go. Colton Regal, out here in Appalachia, the word is just a word for an undesirable colored man. Okay, so it's a specific type. The only time I see
the Chris Tucker thing, there's black people. And then...
The only time I see it used in anger is in the big city where the real J-boos live. I think you could say jigaboos, right? That's like a rare slur. I don't know. J-boos? I've never... Watch out for J-boos. They'll get you every time. All right. You know what? We're 1 minute shy of 3 hours. So you guys want to have another massive ethical moral debate here with the remaining time we have?
Yeah, I'm here for it.
I have so many philosophical discussions that are just screaming to be had.
Data centers? Is that what we were going to talk about last time?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm ready for that one.
Well, let me give a quick refresh. We'll call it a night.
I think Injured Guardian has another one.
Yeah, he did have another one.
Let's see. We're good on Rumble. Injured Guardian. Okay, Skulldugger. Have you ever been 45 minutes southeast of Thibodaux? Is that how I say it?
Yeah. Thibodeau.
Is that a place in Louisiana, Thibodaux?
That is
Looks like French. It's got the AUX French thing.
I believe this is a reference to a song.
Oh. My favorite... sorry, go ahead.
There's not a whole... I don't know that... 45 minutes south of Thibodaux. That's gonna practically put you in the Gulf of America.
Might be a reference to something. You know the Cajun French AUX thing?
Yeah.
My favorite, I've referenced it before, but it was who was it? Was it Clemson? Was it someone was playing LSU, another SEC team in football. And they had signs that said, "Hey homos," but it was HOMEAUXS. I think it might have been Alabama that did it. Look it up. Let me see. I got to find this before we're out of here since we're already so long. Alabama, LSU, hey homos.
That's great.
Homophobia on these T-shirts. It was Alabama. Let me pull this up. Yeah, I don't know if I have a photo of the sign. They don't want to show it. This is courtesy of The Feminist Wire. But yeah, they wrote on signs and T-shirts, "Hey homos, we just beat the hell out of you."
That's great.
That is a great college football rivalry bit. But they got in trouble for it. This is the sort of stuff. Yeah, I mean,
see,
they should be rewarded for that.
Yeah,
That's
it's hilarious.
Clever.
Once again, I'm just going to keep being the stereotypical millennial who pines for the 90s, because we used to say stuff like that all the time, and it was fine.
Oh, we said
those
much
were the
worse
days.
than that.
Oh, yes.
Fine.
All right, we're going to call it there. Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Thank you to our live chatters and our super chatters for making the live show a success. If you're listening on demand later, thank you kindly as well for supporting the show. Thanks to our callers. Thanks to our emailers. Thanks to Turless and Skulldugger for joining for a lively discussion this evening. Thanks to producer Tim for his assistance. Find everything show related at mattchristiansenmedia.com. Matt is .gay if you prefer brevity. Be back on Sunday. Have a great night and a great week.
Good night.